Chapter 1145. He still managed to escape. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He did not expect young Master Xia to choose to self-destruct in order to escape. Moreover, his primordial spirit had activated the ancient demonic dragon sword. Even Ling Xiao could not stop him in time. Big brother, that brat is very slippery. Let's go to the heavenly devil ancient land and kill that brat. The white dragon horse was also stunned. However, it immediately became furious. Young Master Xia had actually escaped in front of its white dragon horse. This was an insult to it. Let's go. Let's go to the heavenly devil ancient land and have a look. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Although he felt a little regretful, he still urged the white dragon horse to go to the heavenly devil ancient land. The heavenly devil ancient land was an ancient battlefield. It was shrouded in demonic qi all year round. It was filled with broken mountains and rivers and countless skeletons. Very few people came to the heavenly devil ancient land. Even if they were supreme being experts, if they were contaminated by the demonic qi, they would not be able to get rid of it. Especially after the appearance of the heavenly devil clan, there were no signs of human habitation. Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse descended from the void and entered the heavenly devil ancient land. There is a strong seal fluctuation here. It should be over there. It should be a small world. The white dragon horse's eyes lit up as it pointed to the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. Let's go. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he rode the white dragon horse into the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. The world was dusky, and black demonic qi lingered in the air. The surroundings were barren mountains, and most of them were in ruins. Some had been severed at the waist, some had been cleaved in half, and some had been directly smashed into pieces, turning into a stone forest. On the ground, there were many broken skeletons and weapons. Ling Xiao could vaguely identify the skeletons. Some belonged to the human clan, some belonged to the demon clan, and some belonged to the demon clan. However, they were all dried up. As for those broken weapons, they had also lost their divine fluctuations and turned into scrap metal. The sky was vast, and the surroundings were desolate. Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse came to the depths of the heavenly devil ancient land. There were two black mountains. They looked like the guardians of this world, emitting an ancient and boundless aura. These two mountains should be the entrance to the sealed land. There used to be a powerful seal array, but it was destroyed. The white dragon horse sniffed and stared at the two mountains in front of it. You can still sense the array here. Ling Xiao looked at the white dragon horse in surprise. Of course. The sealing array here is clearly targeted at the devil race experts. If I'm not wrong, I'm afraid there's a sealed area inside. But big brother, you have to be careful. If Demon God King Bo Sun is really here, I'm afraid this is a dangerous place. The white dragon horse said solemnly. No matter what, we have to go in and take a look. If Demon God King Bo Sun was really here, it would be the best time to kill him before he recovered his strength. Otherwise, once he wakes up, I'm afraid no one will be able to control him. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and said slowly. Facing Bo Sun Demon God King who even Scarlet Dragon War God couldn't kill, Ling Xiao didn't have much confidence in his heart. Even if he reached the realm of three gods, he might not necessarily be Bo Sun Demon God King's opponent. After all, the difference in cultivation was too great. A divine king expert, even if he only had a trace of strength left, he might be able to exterminate an ordinary divine spirit with a breath. But this time, Ling Xiao came with the determination to kill Bo Sun. Whoosh! Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse instantly passed through the space barrier between the two mountains and entered an unfamiliar space. Just as they entered this space, a pungent smell of blood greeted them. Rumble! This was a desolate world with no end in sight. Yellow sand covered their feet, but there was a thick smell of blood in the distance. There was even the roaring and boiling sound of the sea. When Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse saw the blood-red sea in the distance, they were stunned. This was a sea formed from blood, and the thick stench of blood was coming from this sea. In the center of this sea was a 300-meter-tall altar. It was completely crimson like blood, and it was made from the flesh and blood of humans. Ling Xiao could even see that there were many corpses of the human race and the demon race floating in the blood-red sea. Damn it! These devil race bastards deserve to die. They actually formed a blood-red sea. How many people have they killed? The white dragon horse was so angry that it was trembling. Its eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. Anyone who saw this scene would be enraged beyond belief. Ling Xiao's expression became calmer. His eyes were incomparably deep and were covered with a layer of black fog. That was a blazing murderous intent that was almost tangible. Everything in front of him had completely triggered Ling Xiao's murderous intent. He also understood that in the hearts of the devil race, the human race had always been food. The human race and the devil race could not coexist. They could only fight to the death. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not need to be angry or say anything. All he needed to do was to kill. Kill all the devil race and slaughter all the demonic gods. Kill. 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 Just as Ling Xiao saw the blood-red sea in the distance, some people also noticed Ling Xiao and the white dragon horse. Human race expert. Kill him. An incomparably cold voice sounded. In an instant, hundreds of powerful figures appeared in the sky. Their eyes were filled with cruel murderous intent. Rumble. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably calm. He simply threw out a punch. The blazing fist light enveloped the entire area. It was dazzling and extremely beautiful. It contained an aura that could annihilate everything. It was as if it wanted to turn everything into dust. Among the hundreds of devil race experts, there was not a single demonic god. Naturally, they were no match for Ling Xiao. They did not even have the time to scream. Their eyes were filled with fear as they were instantly turned into dust by the fist. Hundreds of devil race experts were killed by Ling Xiao with a single punch. Enemy attack. Just as Ling Xiao killed hundreds of devil race experts with a single punch, the devil race experts finally reacted. Each of them let out an incomparably sharp cry. Ling Xiao could see that there were hundreds of thousands of devil race experts surrounding the blood-red sea. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Obviously, they did not expect Ling Xiao to be so powerful. Kill them all. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He jumped down from the white dragon horse's back and charged towards the devil race experts. To Ling Xiao, as long as they did not enter the godly state, no matter how talented or powerful they were, they would not be able to withstand a single punch from him. They would be killed instantly. Chapter 1146. Human, don't be so arrogant. At this moment, a demon god finally arrived. It was a middle-aged man in black armor. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He held a black spear in his hand and charged towards Ling Xiao. Die! Ling Xiao only uttered a simple word. Suddenly, he grabbed the black spear and punched out. Bang! Ling Xiao's terrifying punch directly blasted the demon god's head apart. Even the demon god's primordial spirit didn't have time to escape. Together with the godhead, his soul was completely destroyed. The demon race experts didn't even have time to cheer. They were like ducks with their necks stuck. Their mouths were wide open and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Even the demon god was killed by this human with a single punch. How strong was he? Crack. At this moment, Jin Sei, Zhu Ganglai, Long Outyen, and the others had also arrived at the heavenly devil ancient land. They had also entered this space through the message left behind by Ling Xiao. When they saw the blood-red sea, the blood flowing, the endless corpses, and even the eyes of those who died with grievances, their eyes turned red. There was no need to say anything more. Everyone rushed up and charged towards the endless number of devil race experts. At this moment, they only wanted to kill all the demon race experts in front of them. They wanted to vent all the hatred, depression, and anger in their hearts. A sharp light flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. He saw the altar in the blood-red sea. It was forged from the flesh and blood of humans, and it contained a mysterious and ancient pulse of energy. Ling Xiao could feel that the altar seemed to lead to a place in the void. It was actually a gigantic trans-realm teleportation array. Ling Xiao didn't even think about it. He wanted to rush towards the blood-red altar and destroy it completely. Ling Xiao felt that perhaps the blood-red altar was the treasure to summon the demon god King Bo Sun. You're courting death. Who dares to behave atrociously here? At this moment, an old and cold voice sounded in the void. Rumble. The blood-red sea shook violently. In an instant, 3 old demon gods rushed out from it. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Ling Xiao. The 3 demon gods' auras were extremely terrifying. They weren't any weaker than young Master Xie. They had already reached the peak of the divine spirit realm. Elders, please kill this human. He has killed countless of our clansmen. The human deserves to die. Elders, please kill him. Many demon race experts were wailing like ghosts and howling wolves. They were scared out of their wits. But when they saw the 3 demon gods, they immediately became excited. These 3 demon gods had survived the war 1,000,000 years ago. Their strength was terrifying, and they weren't any weaker than young Master Xie. If the 3 of them worked together, they could even suppress young Master Xie. Boom! 3 terrifying auras soared into the sky and locked onto Ling Xiao in an instant. Human, you actually dare to behave atrociously in the territory of my Sky Devil clan. Then, stay here and become a part of the Sky Devil altar. The demon god, Swoosh. 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 3 resplendent divine lights shot towards Ling Xiao like black dragons. They were 3 black chains that contained an indestructible force. They wanted to lock Ling Xiao up. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly. He shouted coldly. Forming an invincible fist seal, he charged towards the 3 demon gods. Boom! Ling Xiao's fist landed on one of the black chains. Golden light shone brightly and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. The black chain trembled violently and shot towards the distance. Ling Xiao took advantage of this gap and slashed down with his palms. 2 blazing palm blades slashed on the other 2 chains, pushing them away. He then rushed towards the heavenly devil altar. Courting death. The 3 demon gods' eyes shone with killing intent. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to want to destroy the heavenly devil altar. They couldn't tolerate it. Rumble. Dazzling light shone brightly. The auras of the 3 demon gods intertwined. They stood on 3 sides of the altar and formed an extremely mysterious battle formation, trapping Ling Xiao within. Black divine lights rose from the battle formation and turned into saber and sword radiance. It was as though they wanted to cut Ling Xiao into pieces. Break! Ling Xiao's body shone brightly. He was like a dragon. His eyes were blazing with killing intent. He executed the 4 elephants sky-striking style and punched towards the 3 demon gods. Rumble. The chaotic fist seal was unstoppable. It was as though thunder was rumbling in the void. Ling Xiao's body exploded with unparalleled divine power, causing the 3 demon gods' faces to change. They unleashed their full strength. Demonic light gushed out from their bodies, illuminating the void and pressing down on Ling Xiao. Kacha! Ling Xiao's punch directly broke the battle formation between the 3 great demon gods. Then, it violently slammed into their bodies and sent them flying. Buzz! At this moment, the heavenly devil altar began to emit black rays of light. Resplendent runes filled the air and the surrounding space began to tremble violently. The sea of blood surged crazily and a black passageway seemed to have appeared in the sky. Not good. Ling Xiao's face changed. He could feel that there was a terrifying existence on the other side of the heavenly devil altar that was about to pass through. He didn't even think about it. The divine power around him surged like a dragon. Golden light gushed out, and a vast dragon's aura erupted. He punched towards the heavenly devil altar below. 49 rainbow-colored divine dragons soared through the void. They contained indestructible power and were about to destroy the heavenly devil altar. Stop! The 3 demon gods were extremely anxious. Each of them began to fight with their lives on the line. Rumble! Black divine lights rose from their bodies. Terrifying demonic aura erupted. The black chains in their hands sealed the sky and exploded with terrifying power. The 3 demon gods charged towards Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique at the same time. Rumble! The 3 black chains trembled violently. The 3 demon gods were also struck by Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique. Each of them looked as though they were struck by lightning. They coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying back. They crashed into the blood-red sea, causing huge waves to rise. They blocked Ling Xiao's myriad dragons god-slaying technique. The heavenly devil altar wasn't affected much. It began to tremble violently. The passage in the void shone brightly. It was as though a powerful aura was about to descend. The passage in the void was finally about to be completed. Ling Xiao's heart sank. Chapter 1147. Rumble. Ling Xiao's blood qi surged into the clouds, and his dragon's might was boundless. He pushed his physical strength to the limit and slammed into the void tunnel. No matter who was on the other side of the tunnel, Ling Xiao only wanted to destroy the tunnel completely. Kacha! Streaks of golden lightning pierced through the void like divine chains of order. Ling Xiao was shrouded in an endless golden glow. His entire body was like a golden star that suddenly exploded. The void passage had not been completely formed yet, but Ling Xiao could already see that there were countless figures with powerful auras in the void passage. Their eyes were burning with killing intent, and their demonic power was monstrous. They were about to descend from the endless void. Rumble. In the sky above the heavenly devil altar, the void passage was suddenly blasted apart by Ling Xiao. Blazing divine light filled the surroundings, containing an incomparably terrifying fluctuation. The void tunnel shattered, and a storm swept out. It was as though a huge black hole had appeared in the sky. Has the tunnel been destroyed? Long Out Yen and the rest could not help but raise their heads, their eyes filled with anticipation. As for the experts of the demon race, their eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. They had killed so many humans and used their flesh and blood to build the heavenly demon altar, all for the sake of summoning the demon gods. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would be so decisive and destroy the heavenly demon altar at the last moment? Whoosh! Ling Xiao's eyes were blazing with killing intent. Standing in the void, he stared at the huge black hole that was spewing out black light, and his entire body began to be on guard. Ling Xiao could feel that although he had destroyed the void tunnel, and many experts of the demon race were killed by the turbulence in the void, there were still extremely terrifying existences that had locked onto the heavenly demon ancient land. They were traversing the turbulence in the void and rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Ling Xiao could feel that most of the terrifying auras belonged to the demon gods. There was even an extremely obscure figure that was extremely terrifying. Although the void passageway had been broken open, Ling Xiao could sense that those powerhouses would descend very soon. Kacha! The void tunnel trembled violently, and a monstrous demonic aura filled the air. It contained an incomparably terrifying killing intent, as though it wanted to completely destroy this part of the world. The vault of heaven was completely shattered, and figures with monstrous auras descended from the 9 heavens. They were shrouded in a monstrous demonic aura, and their eyes were incomparably cold, containing a cruel and bloodthirsty light. They were like blood moons that rose into the sky. Above the 9 heavens, a battleship as huge as a mountain. Terrifying figures from the endless turbulence in the void, densely packed, there were countless people. Ling Xiao could feel that there were actually over 100 experts of the demon god realm. Each of them was boundless demonic qi. Especially on that battleship, there was an ancient throne that was shining brightly. A figure in a black robe was sitting on it, shrouded in dark light. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his eyes were incomparably deep, exuding an endless majestic and domineering aura. As he sat on the throne, he seemed like a supreme king that could sweep through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and he naturally possessed a supreme aura of being the ruler of all living beings. The divine king of the Star Alliance? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He didn't expect that the opening of the void tunnel of the demonic altar would summon the divine king of the Star Alliance. But wasn't the Star Alliance supposed to fight against the demon race? Why would they collude with the demon race? Beside the divine king were over 100 experts of the demon god realm. Their divine aura was boundless and terrifying, and their eyes were filled with cruel killing intent. Ling Xiao recognized at a glance that nearly half of them had escaped from the sealed world. In addition to these hundreds of demon gods, there were tens of thousands of experts of the Star Alliance. The weakest of them were soul kings, and many were supremes. However, these experts of the Star Alliance didn't seem to be in a good state. Each and every one of them was soaked in demonic qi. Their eyes were filled with cold killing intent, and there wasn't a trace of emotion in them. They were like puppets. The arrival of over 100 demon gods made everyone tremble. Their eyes revealed an incomparably dignified expression. The demons of the heavenly devil ancient land cheered, their eyes filled with incomparable excitement. They even began to roar loudly. Whoosh! From the sea of blood, young Master Xie's figure shot up into the sky. He reformed a new body, but it looked very weak. It wasn't as terrifying or powerful as the previous one. His eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. He flew directly to the warship and knelt before the mysterious divine king. Greetings, Father. Young Master Xie's eyes were filled with joy and admiration. Father? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. Young Master Xie actually called the divine king father. Could he be the demon god King Bo Sun? Ling Xiao's heart couldn't help but tremble at the thought. My son, you've worked hard. Who destroyed your demon god body? The black-robed divine king glanced indifferently at young Master Xie. Father, my demon god body was destroyed by Ling Xiao. His body has become a god, and his strength is incomparably terrifying. He was the one who destroyed the void tunnel of the heavenly devil altar. Father, please kill him. Young Master Xie pointed at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with hatred. Don't worry. From today onwards, this world will belong to the divine clan. All the humans will become our food. Ling Xiao will naturally die as well. The black-robed divine king said indifferently. Black divine light filled his eyes, as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. It contained an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation. You are the demon god King Bo Sun. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the black-robed divine king in front of him. He stood in the sky, surrounded by demonic light. The murderous intent of hundreds of emotion intertwined, as if it was going to shatter the heavens and earth. However, he wasn't afraid. He stared at the black-robed divine king and asked. That's right. It's me. The black-robed divine king said indifferently, admitting it directly. I really didn't expect that the so-called Star Alliance had already been taken over by the divine clan. The extraterritorial star world is your nest, right? But do you really think that you can control the divine war world? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply, as if two peerless divine swords were piercing through the void, wanting to break through all the darkness. Golden light filled the air around him, and a vast amount of qi and blood rose, forming the shape of a real dragon around him. His aura was vast and unparalleled. He faced all the experts of the divine clan alone. Chapter 1148. What Ling Xiao feared the most was demon god King Bo Sun in front of him. Ling Xiao could feel that Bo Sun's cultivation was unfathomable. He was probably even stronger than Zhang Su's original body. Bo Sun's true combat strength was probably above the true god realm. However, Ling Xiao also had some doubts. Although demon god King Bo Sun was very strong, he didn't feel like he couldn't defeat him. Thinking back to what Zhang Su had said about demon god King Bo Sun's main body being in the heavenly devil ancient land, Ling Xiao guessed that demon god King Bo Sun might also be a myriad transformations demon body. Otherwise, Bo Sun wouldn't have scared Zhang Su to the point that they didn't even dare to attack. Instead, they wanted Ling Xiao to test Bo Sun's strength. However, if a myriad transformations demon body was so terrifying, how strong would Bo Sun's original body be? Ling Xiao had a premonition that this battle would be the most difficult one. If he was careless, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. On the other hand, Jin Se, Long Outyen, and the others were deeply worried. When the true strength of the demon race was revealed, it gave off a feeling of invincibility. Could Ling Xiao really kill demon god King Bo Sun? Hundreds of demon gods were enough to wipe out the entire war god continent. If Ling Xiao wasn't here, there was no suspense at all. Those divine beings in the Forbidden Lands deserve to die. They know that the demon gods have descended and slaughtered all living things, but they still hide in the Forbidden Lands and watch the tigers fight. They bully the weak and fear the strong. They are more despicable than the demon race. Long Outyen's eyes were cold as he thought of the arrogant celestial race and god-burying clan. None of the divine beings in the Forbidden Lands had appeared. No matter what, today's battle is destined to be extremely dangerous. Moreover, we have no way out. We must kill all of these demon race. Jin Se said calmly, her eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Then let's kill. I haven't killed a divine being before. Today, I, Long Outyen, will kill a few demon gods for fun. Long Outyen sneered. Junior Marshal Uncle, don't worry. We brothers will protect you. What can these demon race brats do? We can kill them all. Mu Linfeng, Lu Jianyi, and the other 7 brothers laughed. Not only did they not have the slightest fear, but their eyes were also filled with a strong fighting intent. I need your protection. TSK, if you're so capable, let's see who can slay a god first. Long Outyen said proudly. Under everyone's encouragement, the sense of crisis and nervousness was diluted by quite a bit, and they all revealed a powerful fighting spirit. In this battle, they could only advance and not retreat. If they lost, the only thing that awaited them was death. If he wasn't even afraid of death, then what was there to be afraid of? Ling Xiao could feel the fighting spirit from the crowd and nodded in his heart. He took a deep breath and transmitted his voice to Zhu Ganglai and the white dragon horse, you too, protect Jin Se well. If they are in danger, send them into the divine stone. Ling Xiao had already given the god's stone to the white dragon horse in advance so that he could go all out in this battle. Master, don't worry. Mistress will be fine. However, you have to be careful. Demon god King Bo Sun's strength is extremely terrifying. He has many tricks up his sleeves. With your current strength, you are definitely not his opponent. If there is any danger, you can directly undergo the god tribulation. Perhaps you can delay him. Zhu Ganglai solemnly transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. All right. Ling Xiao said calmly. Ling Xiao, I admire you. Whether it is your talent, temperament, or combat strength, you can be said to be a rare genius in a million years. You should understand that with your strength alone, it is impossible to resist the power of my demon race. This is the general trend. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you are willing to submit to this king and hand over the wordless heavenly book, this king will not only not kill you, but will also nurture you. How about it? Demon god King Bo Sun looked at Ling Xiao indifferently, and there was even a hint of admiration. Through these few exchanges with Ling Xiao, he could see that Ling Xiao's talent and temperament were incomparably strong. Although the wordless heavenly book was powerful, it was only an external object. One's own strength was the foundation. He even felt that Ling Xiao had a great chance of becoming a saint. Such a figure was worth his effort to rope him in. Ling Xiao smiled coldly and said, those who are not of my race will definitely have different intentions. Your demon race views my human race as food, slaughtering billions of lives, and creating endless bloodshed. We are already irreconcilable. What qualifications do you have to ask me to submit to you? Demon God King Bo Sun smiled faintly and said, Ling Xiao, you have to know that this is a world where the strong are respected. The weak can only be reduced to ants, at the mercy of others. The weakness of the human race can be said to be known by everyone in the universe. Many races like to treat humans as food, and it is not just my demon race. But if you are strong enough, you can obtain dignity and a chance to live. You have to consider carefully. If you don't accept, you will die, and everyone related to you will also die. The strong are respected. Ha ha ha. What a good, the strong are respected. Then if I am stronger than your demon race, does that mean I can slaughter your demon race as I wish? Although the human race is weak, they will constantly strive for self-improvement. You don't have to waste your breath. Bo Sun, if you have the ability, then fight with me. I will definitely kill you in this battle. Ling Xiao laughed loudly, and the corner of his mouth revealed a trace of ridicule, but his eyes were filled with monstrous battle intent. What a foolish perseverance. Ling Xiao, although I admire you, if you are determined to be my enemy, I can only kill you. However, do you really think that you can contend against the entire demon race with your strength alone? Demon God King Bo Sun smiled faintly. Rumble. Just as his voice fell, all the demons in the surroundings suddenly roared. Demonic energy rose, and heaven and earth trembled. Terrifying fluctuations spread in all directions, and when the demonic aura descended, it caused everyone's expression to change abruptly. The aura of over 100 demon gods intertwined, causing the surrounding void to tremble, as if the world was about to be destroyed. And Ling Xiao stood in the midst of the demonic light that filled the sky. His white robe and black hair fluttered in the wind. He faced all the demon race experts alone, but his figure looked somewhat lonely. Ling Xiao's eyes overflowed with killing intent. Although he was not afraid of over 100 demon gods, Long Outyen and the rest would definitely not be able to withstand the attacks of so many demon gods. Ling Xiao had already decided that if over 100 demon gods attacked at the same time, he would directly swallow the heaven-mending pearl and trigger the divine tribulation. Ling Xiao believed that the divine tribulation of the three-god realm was something that the 100 demon gods would not be able to withstand. It might even be able to annihilate all the demon race experts in one fell swoop. However, this divine tribulation was originally prepared by Ling Xiao for demon god King Bo Sun's main body, but now he had no choice but to activate it in advance. A group of demon bastards, if you want to deal with Ling Xiao, you have to ask for my permission first. At this moment, a lazy voice rang out in the void. Rumble. Chapter 1149. The old goat stood in the air. His fur was glossy and shiny like silk. He was about 10 feet tall and looked like a calf. His entire body was covered in a faint light and his goat face was filled with a cold smile. Behind it were 9 burly men in black armor. Their muscles were taut, and their chi and blood were extremely violent. Their eyes were filled with incomparably cold sharpness. The 9 strong men were all experts in the divine spirit realm. Each of them emitted a strong demonic aura and a strong battle intent. Old goat? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and a smile appeared in his eyes. When he finished his seclusion, he heard that the old goat went to the holy ground to seek help from the ancient demon clan. He didn't expect that he would really get help. The 9 strong men behind the old goat emitted a strong demonic aura. They were obviously demon gods. They should be the ancient demon clan in the holy ground. Fortunately, I'm not late. Ling Xiao, the 9 of them are ancient demon gods. They are here to help us fight against the demon clan. The old goat chuckled and introduced them to Ling Xiao. As soon as the old goat finished speaking, a light flashed in the air and 3 figures appeared. Taoist Wuliang. You can find reinforcements too. The old goat's eyes flashed. The handsome middle-aged Taoist in the lead was none other than Taoist Wuliang. Behind him were 3 old Taoists with white hair and beards. They looked benevolent and kind. Their faces were like babies. Their eyes were deep and there was a faint smile on their lips. Ha ha ha. How can I not be involved in the battle against these demon clan bastards? Ling Xiao, these 3 Tao masters are my seniors. They are here to help us in the battle. Taoist Wuliang smiled at the old goat and Ling Xiao. The aura of the 3 old Taoists was unfathomable. They were at least in the divine spirit realm. They looked ancient as if they were immortals in the legends of the ancient era. They were extraordinary and elegant. Although Ling Xiao was curious about the origins of the 3 old Taoists, he knew that it wasn't the time. So, he didn't probe further. The people brought by Taoist Wuliang were definitely reliable. Thank you for your help, Taoists. Ling Xiao can't thank you enough. Ling Xiao cupped his hands at the 9 demon gods and the 3 old Taoists and said sincerely. You're too kind, young friend Ling. We've heard about you from Wu Yang. It's really admirable. No matter what, this pure land cannot fall into the hands of the devil race. Today, even if we have to risk our lives, we will stop them. An old Taoist with white hair and beard smiled. Ancient Taoist sects and ancient demon race? If you had stayed out of this, perhaps this king could have spared your lives. But since you are seeking death, then this king can only fulfill your wishes. Kill them. Demon god King Bo Sun's expression was very calm. Even if the old goat and Taoist Wuliang came with reinforcements, he was not surprised at all. In his eyes, be it the ancient Taoist sects or the ancient demon clans, they were all useless and not worth mentioning at all. The only thing he was interested in was Ling Xiao. As soon as demon god King Bo Sun gave the order, over 100 demon gods descended from the sky. As for the experts of the Star Alliance, they were like cannon fodder that attacked Ling Xiao and the others. The devil race experts in the Heaven Devil ancient land were driven mad by the appearance of demon god King Bo Sun. They didn't fear death at all as they charged forward. Rumble. Ling Xiao punched out. His fists blazed like fire, and several of the Star Alliance's fighters were reduced to a bloody mist. None of the Star Alliance fighters were afraid of death. After Ling Xiao killed a few of them, it only served to stoke their bloodlust. They charged at Ling Xiao. Rip! The old goat's eyes were as cold as ice, and his baleful aura surged. Above his head, the Heaven Devourer cauldron appeared, pulsing with the power to devour anything and everything. In the blink of an eye, over 100 devil race experts were sucked into the cauldron. The Heaven Devourer cauldron burned with fire as their flesh, blood, and nascent divinities were refined by the old goat. As for Taoist and Scrupulous, he was much more refined. An ancient sword appeared in his hand. The sword light was blazing, cutting through the void like a resplendent galaxy. Every time the sword fell, a large number of demons would be directly killed, and all traces of their existence would be completely erased. Dragon Proud Heaven, Zhu Ganglai, the White Dragon Horse, the 7 Mu Lin Feng brothers, Dragon Ardent, the Moon Goddess, and Phoenix Lady all made their moves. Their eyes shone with incomparable sharpness, and their killing intent surged as they unleashed powerful attacks on the devil race experts. Heaven Devil subduing grand formation. Crimson light flashed in the eyes of the 9 burly men. The burly man in the lead bellowed. Instantly, their auras intertwined with one another. Their divine power was as vast as the sea. They formed a huge formation and charged towards the 100 demon gods. Grand formation of the 3 clears God firmament grand formation. Break! A sharp glint flashed in the eyes of the 3 old Taoists. At the same time, they formed a seal with their hands. Dazzling runes rose into the air. The 3 of them formed the 3 forces of heaven, earth, and man. They drew the dazzling divine lightning in the sky and charged toward the demon gods. Rumble! Streaks of blazing lightning bolts were terrifying. They contained incomparable power as if they could turn everything into dust. Although the devil race experts were prepared, they did not expect the 3 old Taoists to be so terrifying. The divine lightning they summoned was even more terrifying than a heavenly tribulation. They were caught in the divine firmament grand formation. Crack! Heaven and earth trembled violently as streaks of purple lightning bolts resembled true dragons. In the endless sea of lightning, three mysterious figures appeared and suppressed the devil race experts at the same time. Boom! The three devil race experts in the Three Clears God Firmament Grand Formation were caught off guard and were struck by the dazzling lightning bolts. They were completely turned into dust, and their souls were scattered. As for the remaining demon gods, they were also severely injured. You're courting death. At that moment, a bull-headed devil race expert's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The black scales on his body flickered with a dazzling black light, and the horn on his head seemed to be able to communicate with the lightning in the sky. He held a huge lightning hammer in his hand, and the lightning in the sky surged toward the hammer in his hand. Rumble! The huge lightning hammer pressed down on the three old Taoists with unstoppable force. It contained an incomparably terrifying power. The horned devil race expert's strength was extremely terrifying. He had almost surpassed the peak of the divine spirit realm and reached the true God realm. The three old Taoists' expressions changed slightly. Crack! Chapter 1150. Kill these three old bastards. Horned demon god roared, his eyes filled with murderous intent. He raised his thunder hammer and charged at the three old Taoists. On the other side, although the 9 demon celestials had formed the great celestial demon subduing array, there were still too many demon celestials. There were more than 100 demon celestials, and almost half of them were charging towards them in an attempt to wipe them out completely. Both the devil race and the monster race were races that placed great importance on the physique. Their physiques were extremely powerful and their blood energy surged to the sky. Inside the heavenly demon exorcism grand array, the 9 great monster gods formed invincible fist seals and actually engaged in a bloody battle with the devil gods. Every punch landed on the flesh, emitting muffled sounds of thunder. Kill! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with murderous intent. His huge palm fell, and a destructive divine light shrouded the area. Hundreds and thousands of demon race and Star Alliance experts were slapped into a bloody mist. At the same time, he used the power of the 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique and pounced on the demon gods. Rumble! Heaven and earth trembled violently, and a dragon's roar resounded through the sky. 49 rainbow-colored divine dragons burst out from Ling Zhao's fist. They looked vivid and lifelike, and each of them had the power of a god. It was as if Ling Zhao had blasted out 49 punches in an instant. The terrifying fist intent stacked together, and contained unparalleled power, directly bombarding the body of a demon god. Boom! That demon god was directly blasted into pieces by Ling Zhao, but his fist didn't lose its momentum. Like a golden divine light, it pierced through 2 more demon gods in an instant, blasting them into a bloody mist. Whoosh! The devouring divine sea behind Ling Zhao surged, and a majestic devouring power erupted, instantly devouring the flesh and primordial spirits of the 3 demon gods. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and his battle intent rose to the extreme. He felt every pore in his body spitting out the essence of heaven and earth. Every particle in his body came alive, and the bloodthirsty killing intent hidden in the depths of his heart erupted. Ling Zhao only wanted to slaughter all the demon race experts in front of him. You're courting death. Demon god King Bo Sun was originally sitting cross-legged on his throne. His eyes were indifferent as he watched the battle, as if it didn't matter who died or who died. But when he saw Ling Zhao kill the 3 demon gods with a single punch and devour their flesh and primordial spirits, his face instantly darkened, and a cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Rumble! He slapped his throne, and his whole body suddenly stood up. A terrifying aura, as if heaven and earth was overturned. An incomparably cold killing intent locked onto Ling Zhao. He took a step forward, traversing tens of thousands of feet in an instant. Then, he threw a punch at Ling Zhao. Black divine light rose, and it was as if all the light in the sky had been swallowed up by his fist. The huge fist print contained endless dark demonic light, as if it was the hand of the devil emperor, who ruled the world, pressing down on Ling Xiao. Huh! A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. Instantly, the golden qi and blood around his body rose. He also threw out a punch, and a golden fist imprint exploded. It was as though a god of war had descended to the world, containing an indestructible power. This was the god of war King Fist, the ultimate fist technique of the god of war art. When Ling Xiao was still in the supreme realm, he was unable to unleash the power of the King of War Fist. Now that he had achieved the double god realm, the divine battle force in his body was boundless. In addition, he had absorbed the unparalleled fist intent from the battle with the 9 Supremes Emperors during the Divine Tribulation, allowing his fist to possess an extraordinary power. Rumble. A muffled sound came, and the surrounding void trembled violently. The terrifying god of war King Fist collided with demon god King Bo Sun, and set off a terrifying storm of divine light. Both of them retreated at the same time, and stood in the 9 heavens, facing each other. The battle intent in their eyes seemed to be able to destroy everything. God of War King Fist. You have indeed inherited the god of war art. Although your strength is not strong enough, your fist intent is boundless. Your talent is really strong. Demon God King Bo Sun said slowly with a hint of surprise in his eyes. A casual punch from him could practically kill any divine spirit realm expert, but it was blocked by Ling Xiao's god of war King Fist. Ling Xiao did not say anything, but his heart sank slightly. The war god King's fist he had just unleashed almost all of his physical strength. It was not the slightest bit inferior to the myriad dragon's god-slaying technique, but it was only on par with demon god King Bo Sun's casual punch. Ling Xiao could feel that demon god King Bo Sun's myriad transformations demon body had at least the strength of a true god. As for which stage of the true god realm it had reached, Ling Xiao did not know. Although Ling Xiao had reached the dual god realm, his true cultivation was only at the early stage of the divine spirit realm. The gap between the two was too big. Ling Xiao knew that demon god King Bo Sun had the myriad transformations demon scripture, demon god's eyes, heaven severing 5 styles, and young master Xie's chaotic heavenly demon technique. These peerless demonic techniques in the hands of demon god King Bo Sun could probably explode with terrifying power. Ling Xiao could feel that if he did not reach the triple god realm, he might not even have a chance. Kill. Ling Xiao's eyes were burning with killing intent. He held the invincible fist seal and attacked demon god King Bo Sun. No matter what, he could only advance in this battle, and could not retreat. Between him and demon god King Bo Sun, only one could survive. Roar! Ling Xiao's body was filled with dragon aura. The power of the divine dragon body exploded. His body was invincible, and contained a kind of invincible power. It was terrifying to the extreme. Your battle strength is not bad, and your talent is extremely high. It's a pity that your cultivation is too weak. If you have the cultivation of true god realm, you might have a chance to fight with me. Demon god King Bo Sun said indifferently as he punched towards Ling Xiao. Blazing divine light rose. When he punched out, the fist seal swept out in all directions, as if it had turned into a world of darkness. The fist intent gave birth to all kinds of mysterious creatures. Vast mountains, rivers, lakes, and endless worlds of life and death, all of them pressed towards Ling Xiao. This was the myriad transformations demon fist, the invincible fist seal of the myriad transformations demon scripture. When demon god King Bo Sun used it, it had a kind of invincible fist intent that encompassed the heavens and swept through all directions. Rumble. The two fists collided. Resplendent divine light burst out, and the void trembled violently. Demon god King Bo Sun did not move, but Ling Xiao was like a golden meteor, and was instantly sent flying by demon god King Bo Sun. The terrifying power contained within the 10,000 transformations demonic fist made Ling Xiao feel as if he was fighting against a vast expanse of heaven and earth. Whoosh! Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes were indifferent. He took a step forward and disappeared into the void. In the next moment, he appeared behind Ling Xiao, and a resplendent palm blade slashed towards Ling Xiao. Chapter 1151. Rumble. A black blade radiance traversed the void like the Milky Way. It was incomparably sharp and contained the power to destroy everything. It was like the first ray of light from the beginning of the world, splitting the chaos and breaking the void. It contained endless vitality and destruction. This was the first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles. It was finally unleashed at this moment. In the star world, Ling Xiao had once fought with one of His Majesty's avatars. Although Ling Xiao destroyed the first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles with the 4 elephant sky-striking style, the terror of the first style was deeply imprinted in Ling Xiao's heart. At this moment, Demon God King Bo Sun's first style of the heaven-slaying 5 styles was more than 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and the sky-devouring sword appeared in his palm. During this period of time, Ling Xiao had killed many demon gods. The sky-devouring sword had devoured all the demon weapons and divine weapons he had obtained. The sky-devouring sword's quality had reached the level of a divine weapon. With the innate Spirit King as its weapon spirit, the sky-devouring sword was constantly growing stronger. Swoosh! Ling Xiao's body instantly soared into the sky. The sky-devouring sword released endless light. The roars of dragons, tigers, phoenixes, and tortoises shook the void. When Ling Xiao's sword slashed down, it seemed to have opened up a boundless world. The shadows of the 4 divine beasts appeared. The 4 elephants sky-striking style and the sky-devouring sword combined to unleash the most terrifying power. This was Ling Xiao's peak attack. It combined his physical body and the divine power law in his body, allowing the sword to rise to a higher level. Rumble. The void trembled violently as the blade and the sword collided in the void. It was as if the universe had exploded. The endless starry sky was destroyed. The collision between the first style of the heaven-slaying style and the 4 elephants sky-striking style was as if it was going to destroy the world. It set off a boundless divine light storm that lit up the sky completely. That terrifying aura swept out in all directions, causing many of the demon gods and people from the longevity sect who were fighting to be shocked. Their eyes were filled with solemnity. It was too terrifying. They had never thought that there would be such a terrifying power in the world. It was as if it was going to destroy the world and recreate the chaos. Even those demon gods could feel that if they were in the middle of the battle between Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun, they would probably be torn into pieces instantly. But what they were most concerned about was who won. Boom! Amidst the dazzling divine light, 2 figures flew back. The heaven-devouring sword in Ling Xiao's hand was buzzing and trembling. His face was a little pale, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. However, his eyes were incomparably resplendent and bright. Heaven-severing first style. Ling Xiao stared at demon god King Bushuan, his eyes filled with powerful battle intent. I didn't expect you to be able to fuse the secret techniques of the wordless heavenly book and create your own path. That's amazing. The demon god King Bo Sun said indifferently as a sliver of shock flashed through his eyes. Although he had retracted his hand into his sleeve, there was a deep sword mark in a place that no one could see. What he didn't expect was that not only did his first strike fail to kill Ling Xiao, but he was also injured by Ling Xiao's sky-swallowing sword. I really want to see just how powerful the complete heaven-severing 5th style is. Make your move. Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably sharp. He clenched the sky-swallowing sword in his hand, and sword chi gushed out, causing the surrounding void to tremble slightly. Behind Ling Xiao, there seemed to be a vast sea of divine power. It was the power of the sky-devouring divine sea, which could endlessly devour and refine the essence of heaven and earth to make up for his deficiency. Although the demon god King Bo Sun's first strike had injured him, under the miraculous effect of the sky-devouring divine sea, the vast essence of heaven and earth quickly surged over, and the injuries in his body began to heal rapidly. Whether it was the sky-devouring divine sea or the godly spiritual body, they both gave Ling Xiao the power of an undying body. As long as he didn't suffer irreversible injuries, he could quickly recover. Ling Xiao didn't want to activate the divine tribulation now. He wanted to take a risk and see just how strong the demon god King Bosun was. After all, Ling Xiao understood that the demon god King Bosun in front of him was only a myriad transformations demon body. If he couldn't even kill him, how could he kill the demon god King Bosun's main body? Ling Xiao, your talent is indeed very strong. But it's a pity that you still have to die today. Demon god King Bosun said indifferently with a cold glint in his eyes. Whoosh! His body trembled slightly, instantly leaving behind countless black afterimages in the void, making it impossible to tell which one was his real body. Demon god King Bosun's speed was so fast that even Ling Xiao couldn't catch him. He appeared in front of Ling Xiao almost instantly. When Ling Xiao saw the dazzling saber light explode, he felt a fatal threat in his heart. Clang! Ling Xiao didn't even think as he stabbed forward with the sky-devouring sword. This sword was extremely ingenious. Ling Xiao had fused with the sword intent of the Sword Emperor in the Divine Tribulation. It was when the blade light had just risen and hadn't reached its peak. The sound of metal clashing could be heard and the blade light in front of him was suddenly destroyed. Good sword technique. But the second style of heaven slashing isn't that simple. Demon god King Bosun's voice was erratic in the void, making it impossible for others to catch his location. But just as he finished speaking, a resplendent blade light poured down on Ling Xiao like a torrential rain. Rumble. The surrounding void trembled. The blade light was extremely fast. Not only was it impossible to catch it with the naked eye, but even the primordial spirit couldn't lock onto it. Therefore, everyone below could only see a resplendent blade light descending from the 9 heavens like a waterfall and drowning Ling Xiao in an instant. The threat of death in his heart grew stronger and stronger. But the more it was like this, the more clear-headed Ling Xiao was. Buzz! The sky-devouring sword emitted a misty glow. At this moment, Ling Xiao didn't even think about martial arts or mystical abilities. He just followed his own heart and the vast sword intent that he comprehended from the Sword Emperor. The sky-devouring sword danced around like flowing water. Clang clang clang. In the void, the sound of metal clashing could be heard incessantly. Blade light and sword light rose and then rapidly exploded. But the resplendent blade light was getting faster and faster. In an instant, there would be tens of thousands of blade light descending and locking onto every part of Ling Xiao's body. Puff! The blade light began to break through the defense of the sky-devouring sword and slashed on Ling Xiao's body, leaving marks on the powerful Aries set. Boom! Dazzling runes exploded one after another, and the Aries god of war armor seemed to be unable to withstand such a terrifying saber light. It actually began to shatter, and the sound of the saber light piercing into flesh could be heard clearly. Ling Xiao's body began to emit a shocking bloody light. Chapter 1152. In the end, all the blade lights gathered together and turned into a huge bolt of lightning that split the heavens and earth. It slashed down on Ling Xiao's body. Ka-cha! The powerful Aries set on his body suddenly shattered. Ling Xiao's body began to spurt blood. His white clothes were dyed red, making him look like a bloody man. What a profound sword technique. It's a pity that your cultivation is too weak. Boundless light gathered and formed demon god King Bosun's figure. He glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently and shook his head. Ling Xiao, who was opposite him, looked very miserable. It was as if he had been slashed by a flurry of blades. His entire body was covered in dense blade marks. As for the Aries set, it was completely destroyed. If it wasn't for the protection of the Aries set, Ling Xiao would have been dismembered by that terrifying blade light. Ling Xiao! Jean Sei shouted. Her eyes were filled with worry. Old Goat, Long Outyen, and the other experts from Changsun's sect were also anxious. Demon god King Bo Sun's strength was too terrifying. It was as if there was no way to defeat him. Ling Xiao could only resist in front of him. He didn't have the strength to fight back. There seemed to be a mysterious bolt of lightning lingering in Jin Sei's eyes. It contained an extremely terrifying power. It silently spread out, but no one noticed it. I'm fine. Ling Xiao turned around and gave Jin Sei and the others a smile, indicating for them to be at ease. Rumble. Ling Xiao's qi and blood rose. The engulfing divine sea devoured endless energy. Immediately, the wounds on his body began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Jin Sei heaved a sigh of relief. The lightning in her eyes also slowly dissipated. That's right. My cultivation is indeed a little weak. This is the second form of heaven cleaving, right? It actually contains the profound meaning and law of speed. Even the primordial spirit can't lock onto it. It's indeed a peerless blade technique. Ling Xiao looked at demon god King Bo Sun calmly and praised softly. His previous state was actually extremely rare. It could even be said to be the legendary heart sword state, where there was no sword in his hand, but there was a sword in his heart. Using his most instinctive strength, he unleashed a wondrous sword intent to block demon god King Bo Sun's second heaven-severing strike. Unfortunately, even though Ling Xiao could block the power of the blade light, his cultivation was too weak and his speed was not fast enough. Hence, he could only watch as the blade light broke through the sky-devouring sword's blockade and slashed the Ares armor. The Ares set was such a powerful divine artifact, but it had been destroyed by the attack. Ling Xiao, you can't even withstand the second strike of heaven cleaving. Are you sure you want to continue fighting? Bushuan said indifferently. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes shone brightly as he said, "Come. I really want to see exactly how strong the complete fifth move of Heaven Rend is." Ling Xiao could sense that the first strike of the heaven-slaying technique was power. It was a peerless power that was like an ancient divine mountain that could crush and destroy everything. The second strike of the heaven-slaying technique was speed. It was so fast that even one's primordial spirit could not lock onto it. Hence, Ling Xiao had no way to break through the second strike of the heaven-slaying technique. He could only resist it. This was a true divine martial art. It involved the laws and contained an incomparably terrifying power. It was an eye-opener for Ling Xiao. Although he knew that the next three moves would be even stronger, he still wanted to see the true power of demon god King Bo Sun. Very good. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes flashed as he glanced at Jin Sei in the distance. His heart surged with monstrous killing intent. He could sense that Jin Sei had been hit by his seven souls dispersing soul light, and the wordless heavenly book was currently in Jin Sei's sea of consciousness. If Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book in hand, perhaps demon god King Bo Sun would still be wary of Ling Xiao. However, now was the best time to kill Ling Xiao. Rumble. Demon god King Bo Sun's body surged with demonic light as he stood above the nine heavens. The surrounding chaotic mist gushed out, forming a huge vortex behind him. Heaven-slaying technique third strike, wind rises. Demon god King Bo Sun's ancient voice resounded in the void. Boom! Immediately, the wind and clouds above the nine heavens moved. Vast astral winds swept in all directions, containing an incomparably sharp energy fluctuation. From the black vortex behind demon god King Bo Sun, a blazing saber light instantly fused with the astral winds, transforming into a huge green saber light that slashed down towards Ling Xiao. The speed of the saber light was not fast. It was even somewhat slow. However, it contained an unavoidable power that completely locked onto Ling Xiao. The saber light flowed, shattering the void in all directions. However, this was only the beginning. Heaven-slaying technique fourth strike, cloud movement. Demon god King Bo Sun's voice resounded once more. This time, the clouds in the sky tumbled, as if forming a vast sea of clouds. The sea of clouds rose above the ninth heaven and transformed into a white astral saber. Then, a cyan astral saber fell towards Ling Tian. The saber light was vast, containing an unfathomable concept that made people unable to grasp it. In a trance, it was as if the entire sky was filled with a sea of clouds and saber light. Heaven-severing fifth form, heavenly lightning. Demon God King Bo Sun's voice resounded for the third time. Rumble. Lightning flashed above the 9 heavens. Black lightning interweaved, containing an endless destructive power. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed as it descended. Bolts of black lightning were like black lightning dragons. They were incomparably thick as they interweaved around Demon God King Bo Sun's body, making him look mysterious and unfathomable, just like a Thunder God King. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he chopped down with his palm. Immediately, the black lightning interweaved and transformed into a black saber light that slashed towards Ling Xiao. No one expected Demon God King Bo Sun to directly display the power of the third, fourth, and fifth forms of heaven severing. Wind rises, clouds move, heavenly lightning. Green, white, and black saber auras descended, shrouding the entire sky. They completely locked onto Ling Xiao, intending to completely annihilate him. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed an incomparably solemn expression. Just as Demon God King Bo Sun displayed the third form of heaven severing, he felt a fatal danger. Rumble. Dragon might filled his body as golden blood rose. He pushed his divine dragon body to the extreme. At the same time, his devouring divine sea enveloped the entire area, containing the power to devour everything. Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably sharp as his aura rose to the extreme. He held up the sky with both hands and formed the invincible fist seal. Then, he suddenly threw 3 punches into the void above. The first punch contained boundless dragon might. Ling Xiao burned his divine dragon blood and 81 rainbow-colored divine dragons traversed the sky, causing this punch to contain an invincible power. The second punch contained the power of the god of war that flowed throughout Ling Xiao's body. Wisps of purple gold mist condensed into a huge purple gold divine fist that soared into the sky. On the third punch, Ling Xiao's blood, qi, and divine power seemed to have gushed out. Blood mist spread out from the pores all over his body, turning into the shadows of the 4 divine beasts, faintly revolving around a mysterious celestial emperor. A peerless fist aura erupted. Chapter 1153. Although the menstrual cycle and fate-reversing technique were powerful, they were unable to resolve the crisis before him. Furthermore, if he were to forcefully use these 2 divine arts, it was hard to say whether Demon God King Bo Sun would be killed or not. Ling Xiao himself would very likely suffer the backlash of the power of time and the power of fate once again. Therefore, Ling Xiao chose to use the myriad dragons god-slaying technique, god of war fist, and 4 elephants heaven-striking style to contend against Bo Sun's heaven-severing 3 styles. These 3 fists could be said to have fused with all of Ling Xiao's vitality and divine power. The vitality around him soared, and the golden light illuminated the entire sky. The 3 huge fist imprints met the 3 blade imprints, surging violently with an extremely powerful aura. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths, and their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Demon God King Bo Sun's heaven-severing 3 styles was too terrifying. When the 3 terrifying blade imprints fell, it was as if they were going to cut the entire war god's world into pieces. Everyone had an illusion that this was an invincible blade technique, invincible in the world, and no one could contend against it. Even Ling Xiao couldn't. To be able to force Royal Father to use the heaven-severing 3 styles, Ling Xiao, you're dead meat. Young Master Xie's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he sneered. How could he not know the terror of the heaven-severing 5 styles? In the battle a million years ago, many heavenly gods and even godly kings fell under the heaven-severing 5 styles. Once the heaven-severing 5 styles was used, even ghosts and gods would flee. Ling Xiao, you must block it. The old goat's eyes were filled with incomparable nervousness and anxiety. He couldn't interfere in a battle of this level, and could only pray that Ling Xiao could defeat demon god King Bo Sun. In Jin Sei's eyes, the light flickered, and the lightning was incomparably sharp. The divine sky-mend butterfly slowly revolved around her, emitting a strange fluctuation that made her seem like she was floating, as if she could turn into a butterfly and fly away at any time. Rumble. A terrifying explosion rang out from the void. The 81 rainbow-colored dragons collided with the green saber aura. The dragon might roared and the fist intent was incomparably powerful. However, the saber aura seemed to contain the power to destroy everything. The 81 rainbow-colored dragons were actually destroyed by the green saber aura. At the same time, the white and black blades trembled slightly and merged with the green blades. They contained a destructive force that broke through the Thousand Dragons God-slaying technique and destroyed Ling Xiao's King of War fist. Finally, they collided violently with the Four Elephants' sky-striking style. Rumble. The phantoms of the four divine beasts shrouded the sky and the earth, containing an extremely mysterious power. They formed a perfect balance and began to enter a stalemate with the saber aura in the void. However, Ling Xiao's face instantly turned extremely pale. He could feel that the power contained in the saber was too terrifying. Although the Four Elephants' sky-striking style contained the Four Elephants' origin energy, his cultivation was still too weak. Crack! The four divine beasts were smashed to pieces in an instant. The terrifying saber sliced through the void and slashed towards Ling Xiao. Boom! That saber slashed directly onto Ling Xiao's chest, as if it was going to split Ling Xiao apart. Ling Xiao spat out a mouthful of blood as if he had been struck by lightning. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper as he was sent flying. At this moment, whether it was the devouring divine sea or the divine dragon body, there was no way for Ling Xiao to block the saber. He was instantly severely injured. You didn't die. I didn't expect you to have such a precious treasure on you. Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes shone brightly. He was a little surprised. The saber aura just now had almost completely destroyed the sky. Even Ling Xiao's three peerless divine techniques were instantly torn apart like paper. Demon god King Bo Sun originally thought that even Ling Xiao would be completely killed by the saber aura. However, there seemed to be some kind of treasure in Ling Xiao's chest that blocked the fatal blow for him. The unparalleled divine power contained in the saber aura was transmitted into Ling Xiao's body, causing him to be severely injured in an instant. The heaven-slaying style is indeed worthy of its reputation. Ling Xiao stood in the void, his body trembling slightly. His mouth was full of blood and his face was as pale as paper. However, his eyes were incomparably bright. Rumble. The devouring divine sea absorbed the boundless essence of heaven and earth to continuously heal Ling Xiao. However, his injuries this time were too severe and there was no way for him to recover in a short period of time. Ling Xiao could feel that the last three styles combined had the power to kill him. If he didn't use the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet to block it at the last moment, he would have been killed. The Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet was a supreme treasure. Originally, with Ling Xiao's cultivation, it was impossible for him to refine it. However, with the help of the wordless heavenly book, he was able to slightly use a trace of the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet's power to block demon god King Bo Sun's killing blow. When the saber aura landed on the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet, it didn't even leave a mark. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh at the strength of the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet. However, Ling Xiao had already concealed the aura of the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet. Even demon god King Bo Sun couldn't see what kind of treasure was in Ling Xiao's body. Even if you have a precious treasure protecting your body, in front of absolute strength, it's all in vain. Ling Xiao, die. Demon god King Bo Sun seemed to be too lazy to continue speaking to Ling Xiao. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he slammed his palm down on Ling Xiao. Rumble. A terrifying aura exploded. Demon god King Bo Sun's body shone with demonic light as he unleashed all of his strength. His palm was earth-shattering as he wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Not good. Demon God King Bo Sun's great transformation's demon body actually has the strength of a true god realm? Master is in danger. Zhu Gonglie's expression changed. This time, he could clearly feel that Demon God King Bo Sun's strength had reached the true god realm. He was a realm higher than Ling Xiao. His strength was terrifying. In front of absolute strength, no matter how strong Ling Xiao's talent was, he was still very insignificant. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he activated the strength of his body. Engulfing heaven god sea swept through the void as Ling Xiao punched towards Demon God King Bo Sun. Rumble! Heaven and earth shook violently as Ling Xiao and Demon God King Bo Sun started an intense battle. Ling Xiao used engulfing heaven god sea to continuously devour Demon God King Bo Sun's attacks. At the same time, he used his terrifying physical strength to attack Demon God King Bo Sun. However, Demon God King Bo Sun's strength was too terrifying. Ling Xiao instantly fell into a disadvantage and was in imminent danger. Puff! He was hit by Demon God King Bo Sun's palm and immediately coughed up blood as he was sent flying. Kill! Ling Xiao fought until he went berserk. His eyes were filled with killing intent as his aura surged. After being sent flying by Demon God King Bo Sun, he jumped up again and charged towards Demon God King Bo Sun. Chapter 1154. The eyes of everyone from Changsun's sect were filled with anxiety and worry. However, they could not interfere in a battle as such. Moon Goddess and Phoenix Maiden's eyes turned red as they trembled. They couldn't wait to charge forward. The lightning in Jin Sei's eyes burned even more fiercely as a terrifying divine light was about to burst out. Wang! Suddenly, Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were filled with black light as if a vortex had appeared. Suddenly, a black ray shot out. It contained the power to freeze everything and was extremely fast as it flew towards Ling Xiao. Just as Ling Xiao felt a sense of danger, that ray of light landed on his body. Boom! A mysterious force instantly poured into his body and exploded with a bang. It was as if he had been petrified, and his entire body was sealed in ice. That black ray seemed to contain some kind of power of law. Ling Xiao's body was sealed by countless lines of law, making him unable to move. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes flashed with killing intent as he pointed at Ling Xiao's forehead. That finger was like a sword with unparalleled sharpness. Ling Xiao saw the cold killing intent in Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes. He wanted to destroy him completely. Ling Xiao didn't even think as he prepared to trigger the power of the divine tribulation. Whoosh! At this moment, a snow-white ray of light lit up in the dark sky, illuminating the world in all directions. It was dazzling and majestic like a blazing galaxy. That was a sword ray. It was vast, grand, ancient and sharp. Everything in the world seemed to be enveloped by this sword ray. That sword ray slashed down at Demon God King Bo Sun. Who is it? Demon God King Bo Sun's expression changed. He could feel the killing intent hidden in that sword, which made him feel threatened. Immediately, he changed the direction of his finger, which was pointing at soaring firmament, and abruptly landed on that resplendent sword light. Rumble! The terrifying sword ray exploded and swept across the sky. Amidst the dazzling divine light, a middle-aged man in a black robe with a heroic bearing strode over. The sword will around him rose and circled around him as if it was real. His face looked very ordinary, but his eyes were extremely deep and sharp. They were like two peerless divine swords that had been unsheathed. His killing intent was so strong that no one dared to look him in the eye. He was like an emperor of swords. As soon as he appeared in this world, all the experts who used swords felt their swords buzzing and trembling. Then, as if they were out of their control, they instantly flew out and bowed to the middle-aged man. Myriad swords greeting sect, one sword leaving dust. The appearance of this middle-aged man in a black robe shocked everyone. Whoosh! The black-robed middle-aged man appeared in front of Ling Xiao in the next moment. He pointed his finger, and it was as if a beam of sword chi was shot towards Ling Xiao. It was incomparably sharp, and it instantly broke the restrictive force on his body. Thank you for your help. Who are you? Ling Xiao curiously glanced at the black-robed middle-aged man in front of him. That sword intent was somewhat familiar, but he had never seen this person before. Ling Xiao, do you still remember me? The middle-aged man in a black robe smiled at Ling Xiao as an old voice sounded from his mouth. Ling Xiao was shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief and surprise. You are the longevity grass. How could Ling Xiao not recognize the voice of the middle-aged man in a black robe? It was the voice of the longevity grass. But when did the longevity grass become so strong? What a strong sword intent. Who are you? Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were filled with seriousness as he looked at the middle-aged man in a black robe. Although he felt that the middle-aged man in a black robe was not strong and had not reached the true God realm, the strong sword intent made him feel slightly shocked. You can call me Dugu Chilbai. The middle-aged man in a black robe smiled faintly as his eyes shone with a sharp light. Just as he finished speaking, not only was Demon God King Bo Sun shocked, even Ling Xiao was shocked. He is Dugu Chilbai. The longevity grass is Dugu Chilbai. Everyone from the Changsun sect let out a look of disbelief as well. Since when had the longevity grass turned into Dugu Chilbai? Dugu Chilbai saw the shock in Ling Xiao's eyes and said calmly, now is not the time to explain. Today, I will help you subdue this demon. Looking at Demon God King Bo Sun before him, Dugu Chilbai's eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. Dugu Chilbai. What an arrogant name. You humans are just a bunch of frogs in a well. Since you want to be defeated, I will fulfill your wish today. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes flashed with killing intent as he sneered. Although Dugu Chilbai's sword intent was extremely pure and vast, even stronger than the sword intent of many divine king experts that Demon God King Bo Sun had seen, Dugu Chilbai's cultivation was only at the divine spirit realm. Therefore, Demon God King Bo Sun did not take him seriously. It will be my honor if you can defeat me. Dugu Chilbai smiled faintly. The longevity grass is the strongest man in the world, Dugu Chilbai, from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Isn't this too surreal? Am I dreaming? Long Outyen's eyes widened as they were filled with disbelief and shock. Long Lai, Fire Phoenix Supreme, Moon God, Phoenix Lady, Mu Linfeng, and the others had all heard about Dugu Chilbai. He could be said to be the most dazzling figure in the past 1,000,000 years. His legends were everywhere. The 3 supreme sword techniques of the war god continent were passed down by Dugu Chilbai. However, not only did Dugu Chilbai not die, he even turned into a divine herb. This was unbelievable. Using a divine herb to nourish his primordial spirit. I never thought that there would be such a genius in the mortal realm. Zhu Gonglia's eyes flashed as he thought of something. He could not help but exclaim. Senior, Demon God King Bo Sun's cultivation has reached the true God realm. Moreover, he has many supreme demonic techniques. His strength is unfathomable. Ling Xiao did not have the time to be shocked by Dugu Chilbai's identity as he said to Dugu Chilbai. If that's the case, then I am really lucky. Ling Xiao, how about letting me fight Demon God King Bo Sun? Dugu Chilbai smiled faintly as his eyes were filled with confidence. All right. Senior, be careful. Although Ling Xiao was a little worried, he could feel that Dugu Chilbai's strength was extremely strong. He might be able to fight Demon God King Bo Sun. Therefore, he agreed after thinking about it. However, Ling Xiao also decided that if Dugu Chilbai was in danger, he would attack Demon God King Bo Sun together with Dugu Chilbai. You are courting death. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes flashed with killing intent. The demonic gods around him rose as he slammed his palm down on Dugu Chilbai. He never thought that Dugu Chilbai would want to fight him alone. This immediately triggered his killing intent. Therefore, he attacked with lightning speed. Chapter 1155. Rumble. Demon god King Bo Sun's demonic aura rose as a majestic aura shrouded the heavens and earth. He slammed his palm down at Duguchilbai, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently as if the boundless world was about to collapse. Chaotic heavenly demon art, heavenly demon extermination. Demon god King Bo Sun's face was calm as a ray of light that could split the heavens and earth flashed in his eyes. In an instant, a huge palm print swept across the sky as if it was a vast continent that was about to turn everything into dust. Ha ha ha. Chaotic heavenly demon art is the supreme technique that Lord Demon Saint imparted to my father. It contains 3 ultimate techniques. Back then, Scarlet Dragon War God was severely injured by my father using this technique. This bullshit Duguchilbai is definitely going to die. Young Master Xia let out a hearty laugh. His eyes were filled with an incomparably sinister look. However, he was still a little shocked. The chaotic heavenly demon art was one of demon god King Bo Sun's most powerful demonic techniques. He had never thought that a mere Duguchilbai could force Scarlet Dragon War God to use it. The power of this palm strike was extremely terrifying. It was not much weaker than the heaven-severing 5th style. It even contained an eternal demonic intent. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of cold sharpness. Duguchilbai stood on the mountain in the sky with a calm expression. His eyes were as deep as the sea, as if they contained a vast world. Buzz! The ancient sword in his palm trembled slightly as strands of black sword energy spread out. The sword light looked extremely gorgeous as it gently pierced towards demon god King Bo Sun's palm strike. However, it emitted an aura that made one's heart palpitate. The black sword energy seemed to contain endless destructive power, giving the sword a sense of immortality. Rumble. An earth-shattering aura erupted, and endless divine light gushed out. It was incomparably boundless. However, everyone could see that within the boundless demonic light, a dazzling sword light cut through everything and stabbed towards demon god King Bo Sun. This is Destruction Sword Dao. How could a mere human from the mortal world comprehend such a supreme sword Dao? How is this possible? Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes revealed shock for the first time as his voice trembled. Puff! A black blood light flashed as Duguchilbai's sword pierced through demon god King Bo Sun's palm and chopped off one of his arms. Boom! Demon god King Bo Sun was sent flying as his eyes revealed an extremely solemn expression. Even the battle with Ling Zhao had been very casual, as if everything was under his control. However, facing Duguchilbai now made him feel a sense of crisis. Duguchilbai stood in the void in his black robe. Sword intent rose around him. Although his face was slightly pale, his eyes became brighter and brighter. Destruction Sword Dao. He's merely at the divine spirit realm, yet he's actually already comprehended the foundation of the Saint Dao. This person is truly a genius gifted by the heavens. Zhu Gonglia's body was also shaking. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Destruction Sword Dao. Is there anything powerful about it? Long Outyan asked curiously as he approached Lin Fan. You don't. Divine realm cultivators comprehend the law of heaven and earth and constantly perfect the small world in their body. However, it's still the application of the law of heaven and earth. When one comprehends the law of heaven and earth to the extreme, he will be able to walk on his own path to the divine path. Destruction Sword Dao is the foundation of the divine path. As long as he enters the divine realm, he will be able to become a divine saint within 100 years. Zhu Ganglai shook his head and said. His eyes were filled with shock. Even in the divine realm, such a person would be a peerless genius. He was a rare martial arts genius. Zhu Ganglai did not expect to see such a person in the mortal world. Although Duguchilbai had just comprehended the Destruction Sword Dao and was only at the entry level, his strength had already surpassed ordinary divine realm cultivators. That was why he could easily defeat demon god King Bo Sun's chaotic heavenly demon art. Duguchilbai is so powerful. Doesn't that mean demon god King Bo Sun is dead meat? Long Outyan's eyes were wide open. His eyes were filled with joy. It's not that easy. In this mortal world, there's no way to support the power of the Saint Tao. Dugu probably can't use that sword for more than a few times. If he can't kill Demon King Bo Sun, he'll be the one to die. Zhu Ganglai said as he shook his head. Although Dugu looked elegant, his face was pale. That move had consumed a large amount of his primordial spirit, blood essence, and even his lifespan. After all, although he had comprehended the destruction sword Tao, his cultivation was still too weak. Very good. To be able to comprehend the destruction sword Tao at the divine spirit realm, your talent is the best I've ever seen. Dugu, you are worthy of this name. But how many swordsmanship can you use like that just now? Demon God King Bo Sun sneered, but his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Such a person must not be allowed to live. In time, he would be another Scarlet Dragon God of War, or even surpass him. After all, Scarlet Dragon God of War had only comprehended the foundation of the divine path when he was in the Divine King realm. How could he compare with Dugu? If Dugu grew up, he would definitely be a great enemy of the devil world. It was not impossible for such a person to become an emperor in the future. Demon God King Bo Sun could not help but tremble at the thought of the invincible great emperor's aura that could suppress the heavens. You're right. I will only use 3 moves. If I can't kill you in 3 moves, then I'll admit defeat. Dugu said calmly with a faint smile. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with shock. He could vaguely see the figure of the Sword Emperor during the divine tribulation in Dugu move. It was vast and unparalleled, as if it had the power to split the heavens and earth. In Ling Zhao's opinion, Dugu strength was only slightly stronger than his. However, Dugu realm was much higher than his. Was this the strength of the strongest person in the world hundreds of thousands of years ago? It was indeed terrifying. 3 moves. You are indeed arrogant. Then take another move of my chaotic heavenly demon art, Myriad Heavenly Demon. Demon God King Bo Sun sneered, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Although Dugu cultivation was not as high as his previous move had won his respect. Moreover, he had his own pride. The chaotic heavenly demon art was passed down by the demon saint, so how could it be so simple? Rumble. Demon God King Bo Sun threw a punch at Dugu. Chapter 1156. Boundless demonic light sword, and a vast world seemed to appear above Demon God King Bo Sun's fist. Countless demon race experts roared, ran, and even knelt on the ground to worship. It was as if the legendary demon realm had descended from the endless spacetime. Everyone had the same thought, as if the demon realm was going to rule the myriad worlds and become the only eternal existence in this world. This was the power of the myriad worlds' heavenly demon. Under this fist, everyone's mind seemed to have been taken away, and they couldn't help but kneel down. This fist also contained the intent and power of the Saint Tao. Wang! But at this moment, a snow-white sword light soared. The boundless darkness was illuminated. This sword seemed to be the first ray of light at the beginning of the world. It separated the endless chaos, evolved the myriad worlds, and evolved the countless living beings. This was the sword of life, which gave life to the world. Everyone who saw this sword would think of beautiful words like beauty, life, prosperity, and so on in their hearts. This was the sword of life. Dugu face was emotionless. He emitted a mysterious aura, as if he had completely merged with the world. That sword easily tore through the boundless darkness, and finally clashed with the terrifying demonic light. Rumble. The sky seemed to have collapsed, and the demon Tao world collapsed rapidly. Boundless divine light storms swept out in all directions, but they were completely drowned by the resplendent sword energy. Dugu and demon god King Bo Sun's figures flew back at the same time, and stood in the endless void. The ancient sword in Dugu hand trembled slightly, and let out a clear sword hum. Both of demon god King Bo Sun's arms were completely shattered. boundless demonic light sword, and 2 new arms were formed. At the same time, it illuminated his extremely solemn face. Life Sword Dao. You actually comprehended 2 sword Daos of destruction and life at the same time. How is this possible? Demon God King Bo Sun was completely shaken, and his face was filled with undisguised shock. Destruction and life were 2 completely different types of power. They could be said to be mutually reinforcing and opposing. Demon God King Bo Sun had also seen a peerless expert who had comprehended the destruction sword Dao. That person had already become an invincible sword saint. However, Demon God King Bo Sun had never thought that a person could comprehend 2 Saint Daos at the same time. However, the divine path was like a path. One could only walk one path. How could one walk 2 paths at the same time? The extremity of death is life, and the extremity of life is death. Destruction and life have always been one, so how could they be considered 2 different sword Daos? Dugu Chobai said faintly with a deep look in his eyes. His eyes also seemed to have undergone some strange changes. One of his eyes was filled with destruction and slaughter, while the other was filled with light and vitality. The 2 strange forces formed a perfect balance in his body. Isn't this too frightening? Who was this Dugu Chobai? Could he be the reincarnation of a saint? The destruction sword Dao is already terrifying enough, but he actually managed to comprehend the life sword Dao at the same time. If this were to happen in the divine world, I'm afraid countless holy lands would fight over it. They might even start a war. Zhu Gonglia's eyes widened, and his voice trembled. Dugu Chobai, it really is Dugu Chobai. Even Demon God King Bo Sun couldn't defeat him. This guy is just too crazy. The old goat, Daoist Wuliang, and the others were shocked. At the same time, they thought of the legendary Dugu Chobai. It was simply a legend, a miracle. When the Dugu Chobai in front of them and the legendary Dugu Chobai merged into one, there was an additional sense of mystery. Ling Xiao looked at Dugu Chobai. The concept of the intertwining of destruction and life from Dugu Chobai seemed to have touched him. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, his primordial spirit was trembling slightly. A similar concept was about to condense. He felt that his primordial spirit was finally complete. As long as he wanted to, he could become a god with his mental strength at any time. You're just an ant from the mortal world. How dare you talk about the heavenly Tao? So what if you've comprehended the destruction and life sword Daos? You're still going to die today. No one can save you. The killing intent in Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes was not concealed at all. He was completely shaken. There was even a trace of fear and dread in his heart. Such a peerless genius should not appear in the mortal world. He should not appear in the human race. He should not even appear here. Therefore, he must die. So what if you're from the mortal world? So what if you're from the human race? There's no difference between life and death. It's funny that you don't understand this despite your great strength. Now, take my 3rd sword. Dugu Chobai smiled faintly. His face became paler and paler. Even his black hair was turning white. However, his body became straighter and straighter. He was like a divine sword that pierced through the heavens. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3rd sword pierced towards Demon God King Bo Sun. Wang! The void trembled slightly as circular ripples appeared. Chaotic chi surged. It was as if a small world was born and then shattered in an instant. In this strange tremor, an eternal sword light intertwined with the 2 mysterious concepts of destruction and life shot towards Demon God King Bo Sun. Dugu Chobai seemed to have forgotten everything. He had forgotten this world, the surrounding space-time, and everything else. He was neither sad nor happy. His heart was as calm as still water as he slowly thrust out his sword. Demon God King Bo Sun's expression changed drastically. He could feel the 2 terrifying sword intents of destruction and life fusing into one from this sword. Most importantly, he could feel a fatal killing intent. Chaotic heavenly demon art, eternal demonic Tao. Demon god King Bo Sun did not hesitate. He pushed out both his palms and roared. Rumble. Black lightning exploded in the void. Demon god King Bo Sun seemed to be surrounded by millions of demon gods. They all knelt down and worshipped him as if he was the only true demon in the world. When he pushed out both his palms, endless demonic chi surged and intertwined into a mysterious rune. It contained an eternal aura. He wanted to block Dugu Chilbai's sword and use the power of eternal demonic Tao to kill Dugu Chilbai. This was the most terrifying move of the chaotic heavenly demon art. It was rumored that when cultivated to the extreme, it could even kill a saint. Rumble. Two kinds of terrifying power instantly exploded in the 9 heavens. The endless void was destroyed and even the silhouettes of mysterious small worlds appeared one after another. Then, they all exploded at the same time, turning into a vast black hole. Vaguely, one could see countless mysterious worlds emerging from it. This was creation's end. It was a mysterious phenomenon that appeared when supreme experts fought against each other. Legend had it that during the ancient times, when countless demon gods and saints fought, a single strike could destroy an endless world. It turned into an eternal black hole that devoured everything. The sword light seemed to have quieted down after entering the endless darkness. In the next moment, Dugu Chilbai's body trembled. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His long hair fluttered and turned white at a speed visible to the naked eye. Boom! He was sent flying back as if he had suffered a heavy blow. What? Everyone turned pale with fright, their eyes filled with disbelief. Chapter 1157. Dugu Chilbai's white hair fluttered in the wind, and his face was as pale as a sheet of paper. He was thrown out of the vast divine light storm. He stood in the void and staggered, as if he was about to fall from the 9 heavens. Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Their hearts could not help but sink. Dugu Chilbai had suffered such a heavy injury. Was he really going to lose? Father's demonic Tao is eternal prosperity. When cultivated to the extreme, he can kill a saint. A mere human ant. So what if he has comprehended the supreme sword Tao? He will still die in Father's hands, young Master Xie sneered, and his eyes were filled with jealousy as he looked at Dugu Chilbai. However, before he could finish his sentence, his expression changed. Rumble. In the divine light storm that was as deep as the sea and shrouded in darkness, a dazzling sword ray floated up and down. It instantly illuminated Demon God King Bo Sun's figure. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. That sword had already pierced through the darkness and slashed down at him. Demon God King Bo Sun's body trembled, and spiderweb-like cracks appeared on his body. Boundless demonic light gushed out, and then he exploded. Although Dugu Chilbai had suffered heavy injuries, Demon God King Bo Sun had been killed by Dugu Chilbai's sword. Dugu Chilbai's cultivation is still too weak. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suffered the backlash of the Saint Tao. The power of that sword is too terrifying. Fortunately, he still won. Zhu Genglai sighed softly. He knew that Demon God King Bo Sun wasn't the one who injured Dugu Chilbai. The reason why he looked like he was severely injured was because his cultivation was too weak. He forcefully used the power of the Saint Tao and suffered a great backlash. What? That's impossible. Young Master Xia was completely dumbfounded. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and his face was filled with disbelief. Just a moment ago, he thought that Dugu Chilbai was severely injured and was about to die at the hands of Demon God King Bo Sun. But suddenly, Demon God King Bo Sun was killed by Dugu Chilbai. The contrast was too great. He felt like he was in a dream. He mumbled to himself as he stood there in a daze. A moment later, he suddenly shuddered. With Demon God King Bo Sun dead, could he still survive? Young Master Xie's heart sank as he looked at the vengeful and murderous gazes around him. Ha ha ha! We won! Senior Dugu is too powerful. Long Out Yen and the others jumped up and down excitedly. Their faces were red, and their eyes were filled with excitement and excitement. Bo Sun Demon God King was too terrifying. Ling Xiao had suffered heavy injuries in his hands, and some people had even begun to despair. Who would have thought that Dugu Qiubai would kill him in the blink of an eye? When Dugu Qiubai and Demon God King Bo Sun were fighting, many experts from the Holy Lands came to the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land to kill the demon race. They also saw the battle between Dugu Qiubai and Bo Sun, and their eyes were filled with excitement. At this moment, their fighting spirit soared. After a short moment of excitement, they instantly charged towards the devil race experts. Wang! Dugu Qiubai's body glowed brightly. Streams of divine energy circled around him and poured into his body. His aura began to calm down. Senior is mighty. Demon God King Bo Sun has died in your hands. Ling Xiao was relieved when he saw Dugu Qiubai's aura gradually calming down. He smiled at Dugu Qiubai and said, "He's not dead." Dugu Qiubai's words startled Ling Xiao. What? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had clearly sensed that Demon God King Bo Sun's all transformations demon body had been destroyed. What I just killed was only one of Bo Sun's doppelgangers. I can feel that his real body is in the blood sea, so he's not dead. However, his real body is extremely terrifying. Even I might not be his match. Dugu Qiubai said slowly. Rumble. As soon as Dugu Qiubai finished his words, the blood sea below began to boil. Streaks of blood-red light turned into blood-red chains. They traversed the void and wrapped around the experts of the human race. Powerful demon gods seemed to be born from the terrifying blood-red light. Each of them was filled with murderous intent as they charged at the experts of the human race. Ling Xiao's expression changed. He could feel that there was an unfathomable and terrifying aura in the blood sea below that was about to awaken. Not good. Ling Xiao, Bo Sun's real body is about to awaken. The blood sea should be formed by his divine energy. He wants to devour the experts of the human race to recover his strength. Go and destroy that blood sea. Dugu Qiubai's expression changed as he pointed at the blood sea below. Is he finally going to awaken? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had a vague guess that if Bo Sun's real body was in the Heavenly Devil Ancient Land, it was very likely to be in the blood sea. The Great Transformations demon body that Dugu Qiubai had just killed should be Bo Sun's strongest doppelganger. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with cold battle intent as he thought about how he was going to face Bo Sun's real body. Whoosh! His figure soared into the sky and punched the endless sea of blood below. Suddenly, the world trembled violently. The terrifying fist broke the blood-colored chains one by one. Kill! The old goat, Taoist Wuyang, and the others also felt the blood sea's strange movements. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they charged at the demon gods and the blood demons formed by the blood sea. Many of the experts from the martial Dao Holy Land were caught off guard as they were pulled into the blood sea. They were instantly devoured by the blood sea, leaving nothing behind. The blood demons formed by the blood sea were becoming more and more terrifying. Some of them were even comparable to the real demon gods. Rumble. At this moment, a light flashed in the void as a young man in a golden robe appeared. He was riding on a void golden-eye beast. He looked handsome and heroic as he was surrounded by blazing light. There seemed to be a bright sun rising behind him as he charged at the demon gods in an instant. Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he revealed a hint of surprise. The figure that came across the sky was Zhao Ritian. Looking at Zhao Ritian's cultivation, he had already broken through to the divine spirit realm. Don't be surprised. Although I don't like you, how can I, Zhao Ritian, be left out of such a great task as resisting the demon race? Zhao Ritian winked at Ling Xiao as he smiled smugly. Rumble. Chapter 1158. Zhao Ritian threw out a punch and the blazing Grand Sun primordial fire exploded. It contained the power to incinerate everything. In an instant, the blood demon was blasted into pieces. Thank you. Ling Xiao smiled and cupped his fists at Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian and Ling Xiao had traveled together from the Eight Desolates region. Although he had caused a lot of trouble for Ling Xiao and was even hostile towards him, he was not a bad person. He only wanted to defeat Ling Xiao and never wanted to kill him. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not have any ill feelings towards him and even admired him. Zhao Ritian was like a cockroach that could not be killed. Moreover, he had heaven-defying luck. Every time Ling Xiao saw him, his strength would increase tremendously and he would have many treasures. Ling Xiao had finally broken through to the divine spirit realm. However, this time, Zhao Ritian had also broken through to the divine spirit realm. Comparisons were odious indeed. Ling Xiao was very grateful that Zhao Ritian could come to his aid. Cut the crap. I just can't stand how arrogant these demons are. They are even more arrogant than I, Zhao Ritian. I can't stand it. I must kill them. Zhao Ritian turned his head away arrogantly and snorted coldly. He then continued to attack the demonic gods. Boom! Zhao Ritian was like a sun that had descended from the 9 heavens. His body was surrounded by endless true sun fire. He looked down at the sea of fire and killed a few demonic gods. The sea of fire started to burn. Crack! At this moment, the void shattered with a loud bang. A cold and vast sword ray came through the sky and broke through the endless demonic light. It then split 2 demonic gods into half. A group of figures with powerful auras walked out from the endless void and appeared in front of everyone. The leader was a woman in white. Her face was clear and her eyes were cold. She was tall and her skin was as clear as jade. Her entire body was emitting a peerless aura. She held a black ancient sword in her hand that was emitting a blazing light. It was bone-chilling as if it could freeze everything. Her cultivation had reached the divine spirit realm. Moreover, she was emitting an aura of life and death. It was mysterious and ancient. Shui Wei. Ling Xiao's body trembled, and his eyes revealed a trace of incomparable joy. Who else could this white-clothed woman be but Shui Wei? Behind her, there were many familiar figures. Panga Zhan, Panga Yan, Panga Yang, King Chujiang, Chu Qianqian, and the others had all arrived. The warriors of the Panga clan and the Samsara army, in particular, were all brimming with vigor and vigor. Young master. When Shui Wei saw Ling Xiao, a radiant smile blossomed on her cold face. It was as if the entire world had lost its splendor. At this moment, the intense battle in the surroundings, the boiling sea of blood, and the shattered space seemed unimportant. Shui Wei only had Ling Xiao in her eyes. Is she Shui Wei? Looking at Shui Wei in the sky, Jin Sei seemed to have thought of something and nodded gently. Her eyes revealed a trace of reluctance but also a gratified smile. Ling Xiao had once told Jin Sei about Shui Wei, but seeing the way Shui Wei looked at Ling Xiao, how could Jin Sei not understand the feelings Shui Wei had for Ling Xiao? In the long days ahead, if she wasn't around, big brother Ling Xiao would be able to feel at ease with Shui Wei accompanying him, right? But why did she feel a dull ache in her heart? Shui Wei, you're finally out of seclusion. What are you doing here? Ling Xiao asked Shui Wei in surprise. Young master, after I came out of seclusion, I heard from Grandpa Zhu that you might be in danger, so I brought some people to help you. Today, let Shui Wei help you flatten all of these devils. Shui Wei looked at Ling Xiao and smiled gently. Her eyes shone brightly. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and looked guiltily at Jin Sei in the distance. He realized that Jin Sei was indeed looking at him with a faint smile. Ling Xiao's scalp went numb. He hurriedly said, Shui Wei, lead them to kill all the demon gods. Leave the blood demons in the sea of blood to me. With that, Ling Xiao leaped up and charged into the endless sea of blood. Shui Wei looked at Ling Xiao curiously. Ling Xiao looked like he was fleeing. However, the situation was urgent and she didn't have time to think. She immediately led the people from the Samsara temple and charged toward the demon gods. Old Goat and Taoist Wuliang led the ancient demon clan and the 3 Dao masters to besiege the demon gods. They were initially in a stalemate, but with the addition of Shui Wei and the others, they became unstoppable. The demon gods began to retreat. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, charged towards the surging sea of blood alone. Boom! Ling Xiao swallowed the heaven-mending bead in one gulp and no longer suppressed his cultivation. Instantly, the heaven-mending bead turned into a majestic and pure energy, splitting into 3 parts and merging into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, dantian, and physical body. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit had already reached a kind of extreme. At this moment, its aura rose and it began to expand rapidly. A vast amount of divine substance also merged into the primordial spirit. In Ling Xiao's consciousness sea, the tiny golden primordial spirit was already hundreds of feet tall. It was like a war god sitting cross-legged in the endless Milky Way, emitting a dazzling light. With Ling Xiao's breakthrough, the tiny primordial spirit suddenly exploded. The dazzling primordial spirit light rain gathered again. Vaguely, it seemed like a mysterious figure was about to be born again. Rumble. Ling Xiao's spiritual energy had proven his Tao and attained the 3 gods' realm. Almost instantly, Ling Xiao triggered the divine tribulation above the 9 heavens. Heaven and earth trembled, the wind rose, and the clouds surged. Bolts of lightning flashed across the 9 heavens. They were as thick as mountains and contained the power to destroy everything. Endless lightning gathered and formed a vast primordial lightning pool. It was ancient and mysterious. Instantly, it suppressed Ling Xiao. It was as if the Milky Way had been overturned. The lightning was like water and contained an incomparably violent power. It descended. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This sea of blood was the divine power of demon god King Bo Sun's main body. Ling Xiao wanted to use the power of the divine tribulation to destroy the blood devils as much as possible and weaken demon god King Bo Sun's power. Bolts of lightning descended from the 9 heavens. Although the blood devils in the sea of blood were incomparably terrifying, they were all pierced through by the divine tribulation and turned into dust. Lightning was an extreme yang energy. It had a great restraining effect on dark energy like the demonic qi and the sea of blood. Therefore, when Ling Xiao triggered the divine tribulation, the sea of blood instantly suffered. Bolts of bloody light exploded into nothingness in the lightning. It was as if the entire sea of blood was pierced through. Chapter 1159. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled violently. Rays of blood-red demonic light soared into the sky. They contained monstrous killing intent as if they were going to devour all life force. The sky was filled with lightning tribulations. The ancient lightning pool above the 9 heavens seemed to be overturned. It contained an incomparably terrifying power as it fell into the blood-red sea below. Waves of blood surged into the sky. The surrounding void seemed to be on the verge of shattering. Numerous blood demons were formed from the sea of blood before they were killed by the lightning bolts that filled the sky. Ling Xiao stood in the void. His glabella spewed out a bright light. His primordial spirit actually rushed out of his sea of consciousness. At this moment, his primordial spirit was only 3 feet tall. However, it floated in the void like a bright sun, emitting endless golden light. Bolts of lightning fell from the 9 heavens, enveloping Ling Xiao's primordial spirit. It was as if they had been tempered thousands of times. All of them fell on the golden primordial spirit. Originally, Ling Xiao's primordial spirit had been condensed to the extreme. It could already be considered a pure yang primordial spirit. However, under the tempering of the lightning tribulations, strands of black mist were refined from the primordial spirit. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit became even more radiant. It was crystal clear like a glass crystal. A mysterious divine Tao luster flowed on top of it. Rumble. The lightning became even more terrifying. It poured down like rain. The bolts of lightning were as thick as mountains. They contained incomparably terrifying power fluctuations. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit bobbed up and down in the sea of lightning. It seemed like it was going to be completely shattered. However, Ling Zhao's primordial spirit was filled with a mysterious aura of destiny. In the face of this terrifying lightning tribulation, Ling Zhao's soul was blessed. He activated the secret of heaven's will. The secret of heaven's will was ranked second among the celestial dipper secret techniques. Although it was only an incomplete secret technique, it contained incomparably mysterious and vast power. However, with Ling Zhao's cultivation, there was no way he could cultivate the secret of heaven's will. However, under the lightning tribulation, Ling Zhao seemed to feel a mysterious connection between the secret of heaven's will and his fate. Vaguely, there seemed to be many invisible mysterious lines between the heavenly Tao, destiny, the world, and all living beings. Ling Zhao was entangled in them. Ling Zhao's heart was in chaos. There was no sorrow or joy. It was as if he had become a part of the heavenly Tao. In such a state, Ling Zhao actually felt as if the lightning tribulation above the 9 heavens had become a part of his breathing. As he breathed, the lightning tribulation in the sky began to form a mysterious rhythm, constantly releasing bright light. Thus, a strange scene appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Ling Zhao floated in the air with a solemn expression. A faint smile hung on his lips as his entire body glowed with a resplendent light. His golden primordial spirit hovered above his head, continuously devouring the lightning that filled the sky. Originally, there seemed to be a few mysterious figures flashing in the lightning pool above the 9 heavens, and they were about to rush out. However, as Ling Zhao activated the heavens will secret skill, his entire body became ethereal. The few figures in the lightning pool seemed to have lost their target and began to fall silent. Rumble. Ling Zhao's eyes suddenly opened, and 2 bright rays of light illuminated the void in all directions. As he slammed his palm down from the 9 heavens, the vast lightning in the lightning pool immediately followed his palm and charged towards the blood-red sea below. Rumble. The heavens and earth trembled, and the lightning was unparalleled. The boundless blood-red sea seemed to have been pierced by Ling Zhao's palm, revealing a terrifying abyss where blood and black intertwined. Roar. At this moment, the terrifying existence in the blood-red sea seemed to have been completely enraged by Ling Zhao, and it actually let out a monstrous roar. The existence's aura became more and more terrifying, and in the end, it suddenly burst out from within, filling the air in all directions. Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. It was as if the depths of their souls were trembling. Rumble. A vast whirlpool appeared in the blood-red sea below, and all the blood-red light was actually devoured at this moment. Black demonic energy rose, and chaotic fog filled the air. From the abyss below, a figure with an incomparably terrifying aura walked out. It was a demon god that was tens of thousands of feet tall. He wore black armor and looked extremely similar to a human. However, he had a pair of blue eyes that were like 2 blue stars. They were bright, mysterious, evil, and dark. He was like a huge mountain that walked out from the endless abyss, and appeared in front of everyone. This is Demon God King Bo Sun's true body. Old Goat exclaimed, and his eyes revealed an incomparably solemn expression. Demon God King Bo Sun has appeared. Everyone's bodies were trembling, and their eyes were filled with terror. Some of them even showed despair. The previous all transformations demon body was already so terrifying. In order to kill that all transformations demon body, even Dugu Chilbai was heavily injured after 3 slashes. Now that demon god King Bo Sun's true body was even more terrifying and powerful, who could kill him? Could it be that the war god's world was really going to be destroyed today? After 10,000 years, he actually recovered to the peak of the true god realm. I'm afraid he's at least in the heavenly god realm. The difference is too great. Zhu Gonglia's eyes were also filled with shock, and he said with a wry smile. Demon God King Bo Sun was indeed a genius. He remembered that 1,000,000 years ago, when Demon God King Bo Sun was suppressed by Scarlet Dragon War God, he suffered an unimaginable injury. In addition to 1,000,000 years of suppression, it would be difficult for him to even maintain his divine realm cultivation. However, Zhu Ganglai did not expect that after 10,000 years, Demon God King Bo Sun's arrangements would allow his true body to recover to such a terrifying realm. If he chooses that path, he might still have a chance, but I'm afraid Master won't make it in time. Zhu Ganglai was also a little anxious. If Ling Xiao died, he would definitely die immediately, and there would be no chance for him to survive. However, what everyone did not notice was that after Demon God King Bo Sun's true body appeared, a trace of mysterious and gentle light appeared on Jin Se, Moon God, and Old Goat. The 100,000 feet tall demon god exuded an endless amount of dark demon qi. The black armor on his body seemed to be severely damaged, and there was a huge hole in his chest, as if it was punched through by someone. Even now, it was still exuding a vast and majestic fist intent, making it impossible for him to heal the wound. Chapter 1160. Ant, you've disturbed this king's recuperation and ruined this king's plans. You'll pay with your life. Even if this king hasn't recovered his peak strength, it's enough to kill a bunch of ants like you. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were indifferent as he stared at Ling Xiao. His voice was vast and majestic, like a thunderclap that resounded through heaven and earth. Ling Xiao's gaze instantly became extremely solemn. The lightning that filled the sky was actually unable to affect the Demon God King Bo Sun at all. Ling Xiao could feel that when the lightning landed on Demon God King Bo Sun's body, it couldn't even penetrate the layer of black light on the surface of his skin. This was Demon God King Bo Sun's true body. That overwhelming demonic might was something Ling Xiao had never seen before in his life. It contained the power to destroy everything, and it seemed to make the surrounding void tremble violently. Demon God King Bo Sun, is this your true body? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and the primordial spirit above his head suddenly emitted a majestic devouring power, devouring all the lightning in the sky. Rumble. Ling Xiao's entire body emitted an incomparably resplendent light. His primordial spirit was pure and clear, and his body was flawless. The divine force and laws in his body were as vast as the sea. He seemed to be wrapped in 3 resplendent lights, and 3 Dao flowers appeared above his head. The 3 Dao flowers were incomparably mysterious. They were sparkling and resplendent, flowing with a mysterious light, as if they contained some kind of mystery of heaven and earth. It made people tremble all over with a single glance. Ling Xiao's aura also rose rapidly, and a feeling of perfection welled up in his heart, filling his body with a power of control. Ling Xiao felt as if his fist could tear the sky apart. This was the triple god realm. Seeing Ling Xiao's current state, even Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Triple god realm? I didn't expect that the mere human race's mortal world not only produced Dugu Qiubai who comprehended the Saint Dao, but also you who broke through to the triple god realm. How generous is the heavenly Dao to the human race. However, this king will kill all of you today and devour your fate. This king can also become a saint. Therefore, you'd better die. Rumble. Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent as if it had materialized. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Demonic light filled the sky, and the terrifying fist print covered the sky, as if it was going to completely annihilate everyone. It was terrifying to the extreme. This was the first move of the demonic chaotic heavenly demon technique, heavenly demon annihilation. However, its power was more than 10 times or 100 times. Even though Ling Xiao had reached the triple god realm, his gaze was grave at this moment. He felt a fatal killing intent coming at him. Without thinking, a vast and unparalleled divine power erupted from his body, and he also punched out with his fist. When the 2 fists collided, it immediately caused the surrounding void to tremble violently. Endless divine light gushed out, completely drowning Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun. In the next moment, Ling Xiao was sent flying by demon god King Bo Sun's punch. It was as if he was hit by an unparalleled divine force, causing Ling Xiao's body to tremble violently as if it was going to fall apart at any time. Although Ling Xiao had reached the triple god realm and his body was complete and powerful, demon god King Bo Sun's power was too terrifying. It far surpassed the divine spirit realm, and even the true god realm. The two were not on the same level at all. Crackle. Crisp sounds came from Ling Xiao's body as if countless particles of flesh and blood had exploded. However, under Ling Xiao's efforts to maintain the heaven-devouring secret technique, his body was rapidly recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Too strong. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of bitterness. Demon god King Bo Sun's power far exceeded his. Ling Xiao was no match for demon god King Bo Sun. Kill. Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes were incomparably cold as his killing intent boiled. At this moment, he only wanted to kill Ling Xiao completely and kill all these ants of the human race. Although his strength had not fully recovered, he already possessed the battle prowess of a heavenly god realm expert. Dealing with a group of ants that were at most in the divine spirit realm was simply a massacre. At this moment, nothing else mattered. Only power was eternal. Rumble. Demon god King Bo Sun threw another punch at Ling Xiao. This punch contained endless demonic might and baleful aura. It was extremely terrifying as if it was going to tear Ling Xiao into pieces. Kill. Ling Xiao also began to fight with his life on the line. His body seemed to have exploded as endless golden blood aura rose. Chaotic mist lingered around him as the phantoms of the four divine beasts appeared. Ling Xiao threw a punch as the four divine beasts' sky-striking style exploded with an unstoppable fist intent as if it was going to destroy everything. Kacha! The void completely collapsed. Countless stars could even be seen revolving around Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun before they exploded in front of the terrifying fist intent. Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun both retreated at the same time. At this moment, Ling Xiao looked like a blood man. Only his eyes were still extremely bright and resplendent. Ling Xiao. Saint. Brother Ling Xiao. Many people from the Changsan sect started to exclaim in shock. Their eyes were filled with anxiety. If this continued, Ling Xiao would definitely be defeated. Die. Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes revealed a trace of cruelty as he threw a third punch at Ling Xiao. This punch was extremely vast and contained an extremely terrifying killing intent. It was as if a heavenly demon had descended and millions of demon gods were massacring the world as they wanted to rule this eternal world. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of madness as the mysterious power of destiny flowed around him. There was even a trace of the radiance of time flickering. Age menstruation and reversing fate technique. Ling Xiao was prepared to use these two peerless divine techniques to fight demon god King Bo Sun. Although Ling Xiao did not know if the cycle of time and the art of reversing fate could contend against demon god King Bo Sun, Ling Xiao also knew that after this attack, he would no longer have any fighting strength left. If demon god King Bo Sun did not die, he would definitely die. However, he had no choice. Suddenly, a red figure soared into the sky. That figure was like a red flame that contained an eternal radiance. There were even resplendent flashes of lightning as sword intent filled the air. There was also an eternal and unmoving Buddhist light that instantly blocked in front of Ling Xiao. Jin Sei. Chapter 1161. Jin Sei, go back. Ling Xiao shouted crazily. He wanted to send Jin Sei back without thinking. Big brother Ling Xiao, let me do one last thing for you. Jin Sei smiled at Ling Xiao. Her eyes were filled with endless gentleness and longing. However, in the next moment, her eyes became extremely cold. Rumble. An ancient, mysterious, and vast power erupted from Jin Sei's body. Her red dress fluttered like a ball of flowing flames. She exuded an aura of peerless magnificence. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, beautiful beyond compare. A terrifying aura flowed around her body. At this moment, her aura changed drastically. It was as if she had turned into an invincible empress who looked down on the world. She slowly stretched out her slender hand and turned it into a blazing sword light, slashing towards demon god King Bo Sun. No, Jin say. Ling Xiao seemed to have thought of something. His eyes immediately turned red. His eyes were filled with extreme fear as he roared crazily. However, it was too late. Demon god King Bo Sun's terrifying fist collided with the dazzling sword light. Rumble. The surrounding void violently trembled. The radiance was dazzling and resplendent to the extreme. That resplendent sword light was eternal and seemed to contain some kind of mysterious power. It actually split apart the demonic light and ruthlessly slashed demon god King Bo Sun's body. You are a spiritual venerable. Damn it. How are you still alive? Demon god King Bo Sun's exasperated voice came from the terrifying divine light storm. Immediately, the surrounding void trembled violently. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, another 3 figures soared into the sky. The old goat held the demon saint's scepter in his hand. His body shone brightly as he turned into an old man with white hair and beard. He wore hemp clothes and straw sandals. His entire body exuded a vast and majestic aura, overflowing with an ancient aura. The moon god's aura was cold. She was wearing a white dress. She instantly soared into the sky like a fairy from the moon palace. Her aura was mysterious and powerful. Behind her, there seemed to be a full moon rising. In the distance, the void seemed to break open in an instant. An ancient monk with his palms together walked out from an unknown world. He looked very strange. His whole body exuded 2 different kinds of aura. Half of it was vast Buddhist light, and the other half was monstrous demonic qi. It seemed as if he was divided into 2 halves from the middle. His face looked somewhat terrifying. This ancient monk was actually the devil Buddha that Ling Xiao had seen in the 8 Desolates region. However, at this moment, the auras of the old goat, moon god, and demon Buddha seemed to have changed. Their bodies emitted an ancient and vast mysterious fluctuation, as if they had changed into another person. Their auras were incomparably powerful. Rumble. Rays of light exploded in the void, and the boundless demonic light was annihilated. Demon god King Bo Sun seemed to have been struck by lightning, his body trembled violently, and he was actually sent flying backwards. Jin Sei's red dress fluttered in the wind, and her beauty was peerless. Her eyes seemed to have a resplendent sword light rising, bringing with it an invincible sword intent that could split the heavens and earth. At this moment, Jin Sei, old goat, moon god, and demon Buddha had a vast amount of divine power rising from their bodies. Like 4 resplendent pillars of divine light, they enveloped demon god King Bo Sun. The scene before them not only shocked demon god King Bo Sun, but also everyone else. No one knew what had happened. Why were the 4 of them able to emit such terrifying aura fluctuations? Good. Very good. Spirit Sage, Beast Saint, Moon Mother, and Buddha Lord, I thought you guys had really survived. I didn't expect you to only leave behind a trace of your soul. Is this the backup plan you guys left behind? Do you really think you can kill me with just a few traces of your soul? Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes blazed with killing intent, and became incomparably gloomy. What he didn't expect was that the 4 great divine generals under Spirit Sage, Beast Saint, Moon Mother, and Scarlet Dragon War God actually left behind a backup plan, and completely awakened at the crucial moment. The 4 terrifying auras were incomparably powerful, making him very wary. One must know that although Spirit Sage, Beast Saint, Moon Mother, and Buddha Lord were the 4 great divine generals under Scarlet Dragon War God in name, Demon God King Bo Sun knew that the 4 of them were actually good friends of Scarlet Dragon War God. Moreover, they were the peerless geniuses of the several terrifying forces in the divine realm. Although they only left behind a trace of their soul, they were still able to emit a terrifying aura when attached to Jinsei and the others. Especially Jinsei and Demon Buddha, these two people made Demon God King Bo-sun extremely wary. The sword intent on Jinsei's body was vast and majestic, growing and multiplying endlessly, making Demon God King Bo-sun vaguely feel as if he was seeing Spirit Sage 1,000,000 years ago. And Demon Buddha gave Demon God King Bo-sun a very strange feeling, as if Buddha Lord himself wasn't dead at all. That half-devil, half-Buddha aura made Buddha Lord's power incomparably terrifying. Bo-sun, you should have died 1,000,000 years ago. I didn't expect that after 1,000,000 years, you would still dare to continue your evil deeds. Then, let's end it today. Jinsei said lightly, her voice was incomparably cold, like a wind chime ringing in the void. What? Everyone was shocked as well. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. The four great divine generals actually didn't die. This is just too unbelievable. Ha ha ha. With the four great divine generals, Demon God King Bo-sun will definitely die. War God World is saved. Everyone was discussing animatedly, and their eyes were filled with excitement. That's not necessarily true. Didn't you hear what Demon God King Bo-sun said? The four great divine generals are only left with a remnant soul, whether they can kill Demon God King Bo-sun or not is still unknown. That's right. I hope the four great divine generals can completely eliminate Bo-sun, otherwise our War God World will really be in danger. Everyone was excited, some were worried, and each of them had different expressions. So, the power hidden in Jinsei's body was really left behind by Spirit Sage. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly as a trace of worry appeared in his eyes. After finding Jinsei in Sealed World, Ling Xiao felt that with Jinsei's cultivation, it was impossible for her to have such terrifying power. At that time, he faintly felt that there was an incomparably powerful power sealed in Jinsei's body. Although he had some guesses at that time, Jinsei was already poisoned by the seven soul dissipating soul light, so Ling Xiao had no way to investigate. But he didn't expect that it was actually the power left behind by Spirit Sage in Jinsei's body. Chapter 1162. At this moment, an indifferent voice was transmitted into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. Kid, you are the successor of the Scarlet Dragon War God. I hope you can carry on his legacy and kill Demon God King Bo-sun. With the four of us, we can only trap Bo-sun at most, but we can't kill him. When we trap him, you take the wordless heavenly book and enter his sea of consciousness. If you can completely destroy his primordial spirit, Bo-sun will definitely die. This is our only chance. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned before he reacted. The voice just now came from Jinsei, or rather, the spiritual sage. Alright. But, Senior, Jinsei has been poisoned by the seven souls dispersing soul light. If I take the wordless heavenly book, will her life be in danger? Ling Xiao asked after some consideration. He was also testing the spiritual sage's attitude. He wanted to see if the spiritual sage did not care about Jinsei's life and was prepared to take over her body. Don't worry. I am just a remnant soul. After this battle, I will completely dissipate. In a while, I will temporarily seal the seven souls dispersing soul light. As long as you can kill Bo-sun in time and devour his primordial spirit, you will be able to find the way to remove the seven souls dispersing soul light. The spiritual sage seemed to have seen through Ling Xiao's thoughts and said indifferently. Thank you, Senior. Ling Xiao immediately felt relieved. Rumble. At this moment, Demon God King Bo-sun had already attacked the four great divine generals. Although Demon God King Bo-sun's strength had not fully recovered, his vision was still extremely high. He could naturally see that the power of the four remnant souls could not last long and was very superficial. Therefore, after a short period of shock, he did not take the four great divine generals seriously. 1,000,000 years ago, the four great divine generals were not his opponents when they were at their peak. Now, with only 4 remnant souls left, how could they suppress him? Boom! Demon God King Bo Sun's eyes seemed to shoot out a black divine light. That was the demon god's eye. It contained an incomparably mysterious and vast power, as if it could analyze the laws of heaven and earth and predict the enemy's moves. Previously, when the Supreme True Dragon and Ling Xiao fought, he used the demon god's eye and caused Ling Xiao to suffer a great loss. Clearly, Demon God King Bo Sun attached great importance to the 4 divine generals, so he directly used demon god eyes. He threw a punch at the 4 great divine generals. His fist was unstoppable and contained an unparalleled power. Ha ha ha. Fellow cultivators, I didn't expect that we would meet again after 1,000,000 years. Today, let us destroy Bo Sun completely. Then, I can die in peace. The beast saint laughed heartily. His eyes were filled with a monstrous battle intent. The demon saint's scepter in his hand swept across the sky, shattering the void in all directions. At the same time, there seemed to be a mysterious black hole floating behind him, containing a power fluctuation that could devour everything. Kill! The Moon Mother simply spat out a word. 2 bright moons flew out from her eyes and intertwined with each other. They spun rapidly and slashed towards Bo Sun with unparalleled sharpness. Ba! If I don't enter hell, who will? The Buddha Lord smiled faintly. However, half of his face was covered in Buddhist light while the other half was covered in demonic chi. He punched out with unparalleled ferocity. It actually contained the power of Buddha and demonic chi, perfectly fusing together in this punch. It was like a Vajra destroying the world, terrifying beyond compare. The last spiritual sovereign didn't say a word. She simply slashed her sword towards Bo Sun. Her red dress fluttered like a flowing flame. It contained an incomparably mysterious and powerful aura, causing the sword intent around her to rise to the extreme. Even Dugu Chiobai couldn't help but open his eyes at this moment. His gaze revealed a trace of astonishment. If Dugu Chiobai's sword was the sword of human Tao, containing destruction and vitality, boundless and unparalleled, capable of destroying the heavens and creating the world with one slash, then the spiritual sovereign's sword was the sword of heavenly Tao. It contained a mysterious concept of supreme indifference and a mysterious spirituality. When the sword fell, it seemed to have cut through the laws of heaven and earth, broke through time and space, and destroyed all traces of fate. It went straight for Bo Sun's true soul. The 4 great divine generals attacked at the same time. Even though Bo Sun knew that they were only remnant souls and couldn't maintain their power for long, his gaze couldn't help but turn serious at this moment. Rumble. Heaven and earth rose, and the light was blazing. Endless primal chaos fog enveloped the 5 of them. Strange scenes constantly appeared, and then they were quickly destroyed. The demonic saint's scepter bore the brunt of the attack. It was like a heavenly pillar collapsing as it violently collided with Bo Sun's fist. In an instant, the demonic saint's scepter violently trembled and demonic saint was directly sent flying by Bo Sun's fist. 2 resplendent moons intertwined and came from behind Bo Sun, slashing towards his neck. Bo Sun didn't even look back and directly punched out. The 2 resplendent moons were directly destroyed by his fist. Bo Sun, who had the demonic god eyes state, was simply invincible. However, most of his attention was still on the Buddhist lord and spiritual sage. Whether it was the Buddhist lord's state of demonic Buddha unification or the spiritual sage's sword of highest heavenly Tao, they both made him feel extremely threatened. Boom! Buddhist light illuminated 3,000 worlds as demonic energy surged. Chapter 1163. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled violently, and the light was dazzling. A mysterious bronze temple appeared in the void, exuding an ancient and mysterious aura. It was vast and unparalleled, as if it came from the 9 heavens' divine world. It was terrifying beyond compare. Suppress. 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 At the same time, 3 ancient syllables rang out in the void, containing boundless power. Behind the monster saint, the Moon Mother, and the Buddha Lord, a bronze divine palace appeared, flowing with a mysterious light. The light was extremely bright. Every single bronze temple was suffused with boundless chaotic mist, and they contained extremely terrifying energy. Their auras intertwined with each other, and they seemed to have formed an extremely vast grand formation. The 4 bronze palaces instantly enveloped demon god King Bo Sun. Is the true purpose of the bronze temples to seal demon gods? A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes, revealing an incomparably shocked expression. He had seen the bronze temples in the depths of the 8 Desolates region, primitive ancient mine, time cave, and other places. At that time, he felt that the bronze temples were extraordinary, and perhaps it was related to the Scarlet Dragon War God. Now that he saw the 4 great generals summon the 4 bronze temples, he understood. What? This is the demon-suppressing divine temple that bastard Scarlet Dragon left behind. How can you activate it with your strength? Demon god King Bo Sun's expression changed instantly, as if he was flustered and exasperated. There was even a trace of unconcealable fear in his eyes. 9 demon-suppressing divine temples to suppress the war god world. You want to kill your way into the war god world by every means possible. Besides wanting to obtain the wordless heavenly book, I'm afraid you also think that no one can activate the demon-suppressing divine temple. Unfortunately, the Scarlet Dragon War God had already expected this day and left behind a backup plan. Bo Sun, prepare to die. Jean Sei's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as she said faintly. Rumble. 4 bronze palaces floated in the void. Endless chaotic mist rose. Instantly, 4 chaotic-colored chains containing terrifying power shot out from the palaces and wrapped around Bo Sun. Bo Sun's body trembled, and he prepared to escape without thinking. However, the 4 bronze temples intertwined with each other, sealing the void in all directions. Demon god King Bo Sun had no chance of escaping. Whoosh! The 4 primal chaos chains instantly pierced through demon god King Bo Sun's protective demonic light, and abruptly wrapped around him. Ah! I can't accept this. You want to seal this king with just 4 remnant souls. I want to see how long you can last. When this king escapes, all of you will die, all of you will die. A furious roar came from Bo Sun's mouth, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. Beams of demonic light rose, but they were all suppressed by the 4 bronze temples. Demon god King Bo Sun's body was trapped in the 4 bronze temples, and he had no way of escaping. As for the Spirit Elder, Demon Saint, Moon Mother and Buddha Lord, the 4 great divine generals, their complexions were incomparably pale. Although they were able to activate the 4 demon-suppressing divine palaces, their strength was rapidly being consumed. Although the power of the demon-suppressing divine palaces was terrifying, it was impossible for them to completely annihilate demon god King Bo Sun. Ling Zhao, it's up to you now. The Spirit Elder's voice transmitted into Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness. At this moment, the Spirit Elder's body emitted an ancient and mysterious aura, instantly sealing the power of the 7 souls' scattered soul light. The wordless heavenly book turned into a stream of light, and instantly flew back into Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness. Senior, don't worry. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness, and he instantly leaped up, flying into the bronze temples. At this moment, demon god King Bo Sun was completely sealed by the demon-suppressing divine palaces. No matter if it was his physical body, divine power, or primordial spirit, they were all sealed by the demon-suppressing divine palaces. At this moment, demon god King Bo Sun was at his weakest. Ling Zhao understood the Spirit Elder's meaning. He had to take advantage of this opportunity to kill demon god King Bo Sun in one fell swoop. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future. Rumble. In the center of the 4 demon-suppressing divine palaces, endless primal chaos mist interweaved, like a world of primal chaos. Ling Zhao flew into it, and immediately saw demon god King Bo Sun's body pierced by 4 chains. Although his body was slightly trembling, he seemed to have lost consciousness. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he directly sat cross-legged in the primal chaos mist. The wordless heavenly book wrapped his primordial spirit, and instantly rushed into demon god King Bo Sun's sea of consciousness. It was a great taboo for the primordial spirit to rashly rush into another's sea of consciousness, especially when one's cultivation was lower than the other's. It was almost certain death. This was the first time Ling Xiao's primordial spirit had left his body, but this was also due to demon god King Bo Sun being sealed by the demon-suppressing divine palaces. Furthermore, Ling Xiao had the protection of the wordless heavenly book. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to rush into demon god King Bo Sun's sea of consciousness. Boom! The wordless heavenly book shone brightly. At this moment, demon god King Bo Sun was powerless to stop Ling Xiao, and could only watch as Ling Xiao entered his sea of consciousness. Demon god King Bo Sun's sea of consciousness was like a world of darkness. It contained boundless demonic light, as if it was the origin of the demonic path. In the center of the sea of consciousness, there was a bright light spreading out. It was a strange crystal that contained boundless power, and at this moment, it was imprinted on the forehead of demon god King Bo Sun's primordial spirit. That was the Godhead. The so-called Godhead was a crystal formed by a divine spirit realm expert who had obtained the recognition of the laws of the realm of gods. It contained the majority of the divine spirit realm expert's power. Just like Ling Xiao, he had reached the three gods' realm, but he had yet to enter the realm of gods. Without the recognition of the laws of the realm of gods, he naturally couldn't condense the Godhead. After condensing the Godhead, the battle strength of a divine realm expert would increase by a terrifying amount. Rumble. At this moment, demon god King Bo Sun's primordial spirit was also pierced through by 4 primal chaos chains, and was firmly bound. However, his consciousness was still clear. When he saw Ling Xiao, his eyes immediately revealed a ferocious killing intent. Wordless heavenly book. Ling Xiao, aren't you afraid that I will activate the 7 souls dispersing soul light and kill your little lover? Demon god King Bo Sun sneered. Previously, he had sensed that Ling Xiao's wordless heavenly book was suppressing the 7 souls dispersing soul light in Jin Sei's sea of consciousness. At this moment, when he saw Ling Xiao bring the wordless heavenly book into his sea of consciousness, he immediately felt that something was amiss. Bo Sun, you are still bluffing. You can't even protect yourself, so how can you activate the 7 souls dispersing soul light? Stop stalling for time, you will definitely die today. Chapter 1164. Boom. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit emitted a resplendent golden light, and his body was filled with dragon's might, as if he had turned into a golden divine dragon. He punched towards demon god King Bo Sun. At the same time, divine power rose behind Ling Xiao, as vast as the sea. The heaven-devouring divine sea appeared, turning into a boundless devouring whirlpool, and began to devour the primordial spirit power emitted by demon god King Bo Sun. And, with a mere divine spirit realm cultivation, do you really think that you can kill me with the wordless heavenly book? Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes were blazing with killing intent. He knew it was useless to say anything now. Seeing Ling Xiao charging towards him, his body was also enveloped in demonic light. One of his arms suddenly pulled the chain of primal chaos and swept it towards Ling Xiao. Although the power of the demon-suppressing divine palace was terrifying, it could only completely suppress demon god King Bo Sun's body. However, it seemed to be lacking in power against his primordial spirit, and could easily drag the 4 primal chaos chains. If the 9 demon-suppressing divine palaces were to move at the same time, they might be able to completely suppress demon god King Bo Sun. Unfortunately, the 4 great divine generals' power was limited, and could only activate 4 demon-suppressing divine palaces. Rumble. The 2 fists collided, and a dazzling radiance burst out. Ling Xiao felt a destructive power spreading towards his primordial spirit, and the wordless heavenly book flashed, and instantly devoured that power. With the protection of the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao seemed to be in an invincible position. However, demon god King Bo Sun's strength was too terrifying, and this was demon god King Bo Sun's home ground. Ling Xiao had no way to completely destroy demon god King Bo Sun's primordial spirit. An intense battle erupted in demon god King Bo Sun's sea of consciousness. Endless divine light rose, and terrifying divine power interweaved, terrifying to the extreme. This was a pure battle of gods. If the primordial spirit was heavily injured, the body would probably suffer irreversible damage. Therefore, this battle was incomparably dangerous. Ling Xiao and demon god King Bo Sun's primordial spirit were fiercely fighting, and the four great divine generals outside were also using all their strength to activate the demon-suppressing demon god King Bo Sun. Seeing that demon god King Bo Sun was suppressed by the demon-suppressing divine palace, those demon gods seemed to have gone mad. They all fearlessly rushed towards the four great divine generals, wanting to save demon god King Bo Sun. But how could the old goat, Taoist Wu Yang, and the others let them succeed? Many powerhouses surrounded the four great divine generals, and an extremely intense defensive battle broke out. Countless powerhouses of the devil race died in battle, and blood flowed like rivers. In the end, Dugu Qiubai directly took action. A sword ray swept across the world with endless destructive power. Several demon gods were instantly slain by his sword. With the addition of Dugu Qiubai, everyone was like a tiger that had grown wings. Their confidence was boosted, and they began to encircle and kill the demons. Just as a fierce battle was going on in the heavenly devil ancient land. Ancestor Zhang Su, Shaman King Qi Kongjue of the Sorcerer tribe, and Heavenly King Bai Wuliang of the Heavenly Human tribe stood in the chaotic void. A light screen was in front of them, clearly displaying the scene of the great battle in the heavenly devil ancient land. Fellow Taoists, can you make your move now? Qi Kongjue's eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit that was eager to give it a try. Seeing the four demon god palaces sealing Bo Sun and Ling Xiao rushing into the demon god palaces to kill Bo Sun, Qi Kongjue immediately couldn't hold back. No, now is not the time. Bai Wuliang's eyes flashed, and he slowly shook his head. Brother Bai is right. Now is not the time to make our move. Bo Sun's battle strength is too terrifying. I'm afraid he already has the battle strength of a heavenly god. Even if the three of us join forces, we won't have the slightest chance of victory. If we make our move now, it's equivalent to helping Bo Sun break the demon god palaces. Let's continue to wait, and hope that Ling Xiao can seriously injure Bo Sun with the wordless heavenly book. When the other side is completely defeated, that will be the time for us to make our move. Zhang Su's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. How boring. Wouldn't it be better if we just rush over and fight? You two really like to play tricks. Qi Kongjue curled his lips and said with some dissatisfaction. However, he also knew that Bai Wuliang and Zhang Su were speaking the truth. If they were to make their move now, they might really die in the hands of Bo Sun. Qi Kongjue, let alone Bo Sun, even that human Dugu Qiubai, are you his match? Zhang Su looked at Dugu Qiubai on the screen of light with a trace of strange light in his eyes and said slowly. Dugu Qiubai. That guy is too abnormal. When Dugu Qiubai was mentioned, Qi Kongjue's eyes revealed a trace of fear. To be able to cultivate to the deity realm in the human world was already a peerless talent and incomparably heaven-defying talent. However, this guy actually comprehended the foundation of the Saint Tao. This was simply too frightening. Dugu Qiubai used the power of destruction and life to kill Bo Sun's myriad transformations demon body. Qi Kongjue, Bai Wuliang, and Zhang Su were all stunned when they saw this scene. They believed without a doubt that if that sword was aimed at them, they would definitely die without the slightest chance. Using the Saint Tao sword in the human world is simply the path to death. Right now, his vitality has been greatly damaged and he can't deal with us anymore. However, we still have to be on guard. So, let's wait and see the result of this battle. Bai Wuliang finally spoke. Clearly, he was also very afraid of Dugu Qiubai. The luck of the human race is truly enviable. The war god's world has already produced the heaven-defying Dugu Qiubai and Ling Xiao, who has reached the three god stage. How generous is the heavens to the human race. Zhang Su also sighed softly. That's right. To be able to reach the three-god realm in the human world, his talent is not inferior to Dugu Qiubai's foundation of the Saint Tao. It can be said that as long as Ling Xiao dies, he will definitely become a saint in the future. Unfortunately, he obtained the wordless heavenly book. A man's wealth is his own ruin. He will definitely die this time. Bai Wuyang nodded and said. The three supreme experts stood in the void and watched the battle in the heavenly devil ancient land. They were ready to take action at any time. In the demon-suppressing divine palace, the battle between Ling Xiao and Bo Sun's soul had already lasted for 3 days. The spiritual elder and the other 4 great divine generals were also on the verge of collapse, as if they couldn't hold on any longer. Their hearts were filled with anxiety. If Ling Xiao was unable to kill Bo Sun, then Bo Sun would really be able to escape from his predicament. In Bo Sun's sea of consciousness, the battle between Ling Xiao and Bo Sun seemed to have reached its final stage. Rumble. Chapter 1165. The wordless heavenly book shone brightly as it floated above demon god King Bo Sun's sea of consciousness, emitting an eternal light. Demon god King Bo Sun's body emitted demonic light, but after being illuminated by the wordless heavenly book, it instantly melted like snow. Ling Xiao's body shone with resplendent light. Under the support of the wordless heavenly book, he was incomparably ferocious. His strength was extremely powerful, and each of his punches contained an incomparably terrifying power. Demon god King Bo Sun roared again and again. In these 3 days, although he possessed an extremely powerful strength, he was greatly restrained by the wordless heavenly book, causing him to be riddled with wounds. Demon god King Bo Sun knew that with the wordless heavenly book, he would not be able to injure Ling Xiao's primordial spirit at all. The reason why he was able to hold on until now was because he felt that the 4 great divine generals would not be able to hold on for so long. Once the 4 great divine generals could no longer hold on, his opportunity would come. Ling Xiao also understood this point, so his attacks were incomparably ferocious. Furthermore, he used the power of the wordless heavenly book to continuously attack demon god King Bo Sun. In these 3 days, demon god King Bo Sun's injuries accumulated, and in the end, he began to weaken. Rumble. Suddenly, demonic light rose from demon god King Bo Sun's body. The few primal chaos chains seemed to be unable to support his strength and were directly broken by demon god King Bo Sun. Ling Xiao, without the demon god King Bo Sun, all of you will die. Ha ha ha. Demon god King Bo Sun let out a wild laugh, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. His primordial spirit had already broken free from the binding of the primal chaos chains. This meant that the 4 great divine generals' strength had weakened to the extreme. Soon, his body would be able to break free from the suppression of the demon god King Bo Sun. Rumble. Heaven and earth violently trembled, and the 4 bronze palaces began to tremble. Wind and clouds surged, and endless divine light shone dazzlingly. The 4 great divine generals' figures seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Not good. The old goat, Taoist Wuyang and the others revealed a worried look. Until now, Ling Xiao had not killed demon god King Bo Sun. If the 4 great divine generals really could not hold on, then they would really be finished. Brothers, let's go. This time, we must not let demon god King Bo Sun escape. We must help Master completely destroy Bo Sun. A sharp light flashed in Mu Linfeng's eyes as he spoke to Yi Qianjue and the others. He was dressed in white and had a heroic bearing. He looked extraordinary and there was a mysterious aura flowing around his body. Boom! He instantly soared into the sky, and the light around him was dazzling. In the void, the shadow of a 7-colored gourd appeared, revealing an ancient, mysterious, and vast energy fluctuation. Yes, senior brother. The other 6 brothers all shouted at the same time and soared into the sky at the same time. Their bodies were all shining with dazzling light. Rumble. Mu Linfeng's group of 7 had devoured the 7 evils gourd's 7 evils origin force. At this moment, they were half flesh and half magic treasure. There was a mysterious connection between them. At this moment, the 7 of them soared into the sky at the same time. 7 resplendent rays of light fused together and turned into a 7-colored gourd. It flowed with 7-colored multicolored light and instantly flew down towards the devil-suppressing divine palace. Boom! The violently struggling demon god King Bo Sun seemed to have been suppressed by some terrifying power and instantly became very obedient. The 7 evils gourd floated above demon god King Bo Sun's head and the 7-colored light completely sealed him. 7 evils gourd? Damn it, how can a mere mortal world have such a treasure? In his sea of consciousness, demon god King Bo Sun's origin spirit was incomparably gloomy as he coldly said in disbelief. With the 7 evils gourd suppression, it was almost impossible for him to escape in a short period of time. Bo Sun, you will die today without a doubt. Die. Killing intent flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes and he instantly threw a punch at demon god King Bo Sun. Don't think that the wordless heavenly book is an invincible existence. Ling Zhao, since you don't know life from death, this king will fulfill your wish. Demon god King Bo Sun's eyes revealed an extremely gloomy light as his killing intent blazed. Boom! The light around him was resplendent as his aura rose rapidly as if it contained an extremely terrifying power. Endless demonic light gushed out. Behind him, in a black vortex, an eye seemed to appear. That eye suddenly opened, and a black light containing the purest destructive power rushed towards Ling Zhao. The power of the demon god's eye was actually activated by demon god King Bo Sun's origin spirit. That black light was like the light of annihilation. It contained an incomparably terrifying power, and it instantly pounced towards Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as if he was not surprised at all. He still rushed towards demon god King Bo Sun. Freeze! Ling Zhao suddenly spat out an extremely ancient syllable that contained a mysterious power. That terrifying black light seemed to be frozen in the void. The power of the Age of Time was activated. With Ling Zhao's current cultivation of the 3 gods realm, he could already barely activate a trace of the power of the Age of Time without suffering too much of a backlash. However, his body still trembled as if his origin spirit was about to collapse. What? Demon god King Bo Sun felt as if he had fallen into a quagmire. His entire body seemed to be fixed in the void by some kind of power of law. Next, Ling Zhao instantly pounced on him. His entire body emitted a mysterious fluctuation of fate. A void flame burned in the void and slammed down on him. Ling Zhao's entire body was burning. The void fire spread as if it had reached demon god King Bo Sun's body in an instant. You! How can you activate the power of the Age of Time and the art of reversing fate? Demon god King Bo Sun was not only shocked at this moment, but also terrified. Although he knew that the Scarlet Dragon War God had the Age of Time and the art of reversing fate, the power of time and the power of fate were too mysterious. Even a divine king would find it difficult to comprehend them. He did not think that Ling Zhao could activate the power of these 2 divine techniques. However, he did not expect that Ling Zhao had not used these 2 divine techniques before. He had been enduring until now, but at the crucial moment of the divine war, they erupted. This time, demon god King Bo Sun was caught unprepared. Rumble. The void fire could also be said to be the fire of fate. It was the power of Ling Zhao's reversal of fate. It instantly enveloped demon god King Bo Sun. Under the superposition of the power of time and the power of fate, even if demon god King Bo Sun was as strong as a divine king, he was still severely injured. Boom! You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.